Hello, everybody, and warm welcome to the Shadowverse Open 2025 Qualifier 1 Finals. I'm your host, Ignitius, and with me, as always, for this season is my co-host, Chris Different Fight. How you doing, buddy?
That's me. Welcome back, everyone. It's another week of SVO. We're back with
second weekend in a row, too.
Yeah, right. We don't usually get these. It just feels pretty surreal, but this week, we have the official beginning of the actual Shadowverse Open circuit. So last week, you got to one-shot your invitation into World Grand Prix. But starting from this week, it's going to be, the start of basically a consistent grind across several months to get into the SVO finals. They'll be happening at the end of October over in Singapore. And we've had a lot of players join again this week, and lots of interesting decks as well. A very different picture from last week, I'd say. So I'm really looking forward to getting into the show. And of course, casting with Igni, always a pleasure. So I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of hype moments of losing our voices will happen this week.
Right, hype moments and aura. Especially since we're casting at midnight our time. It's going to... Let's bother the neighbors at this point. But yes, like you said, last week was a straight shot to World Grand Prix, but this time around, it's all going into the grand finals of SVO. The top two will be heading there. But let's take a look at what the format is for today's tournament. So leading into this event, it was I believe 13 rounds, whittling down into the top 8. Now, these top 8 players are going to be doing a best of 3, 2-deck, 0-ban, single elimination, meaning 2 decks from different classes, and you have to win with both decks to advance. Single elimination means that if you lose a round, you are out of the tournament. So pretty high stakes. And then for the prizes, it's also high stakes. As always with Shadowverse Open, of course, there's money on the line. You get a $100 bonus just for showing your webcam, and just for showing up to the top 8, you get $250. But the first round is a $200 money match, going into a $450 prize pool for third and fourth place. Then second place gets $800, and then first place $1,500. And then again, just to remind you, first and second place gets a qualification to the Shadowverse Open Grand Finals in October in Singapore.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. And basically, as long as you make it to finals, you qualify for the finals in Singapore, which, is one of the big things that a lot of players are aiming for. But I think at this point, these players are coming from all kinds of different countries and trying to, just kind of show their worth, right, in the Shadowverse scene. And, we got people brand new to the game. We got people from original Shadowverse. We got people from other games showing up. And so this prizing is definitely a big part of it. But that's not all. We have a few more prizes as well that these players are playing for. Of course, we do have the lovely...
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yep, we do hear you. We got you.
I believe I got desynced.
All right. Looks like we might be having some technical issues. But we do have the prizing here, of course, for the Phylene, as well as for the Phylene icon, as well as the lovely flares, of course. Very similar to what we had last week with champion, second place, and third place of the Qualifier series. So overall, lots of prizing, lots of good stuff for the event this week. And of course, let's take a look at the players who are also in the tournament this week around. And like I said, we have players from all over the place, right? So first things first, in the top bracket, we're going to be seeing Unner versus Life. So this one's going to be quite hype because Unner is essentially one of the players that we've seen quite a lot throughout the original SVO. So coming from Germany, saw him quite a bit in the SVO in the West circuit during original Shadowverse. And then he's going to be going up against Life, who's also another player that we've seen from before as well. So quite a few returning players from original Shadowverse that are coming through, which is very nice. And then we also are having Teddy versus Tempest on the next match. So Teddy is also coming from Germany, bringing a pretty interesting lineup into the tournament. We'll take a look at their deck lists later down as well. And then Tempest is actually the only player in the entire top 8 with both this and last week combined, bringing Dragon to the top 8, which is going to be very hype. So finally getting to see Dragon. Had a pretty crazy run. Actually had to defeat one of my good friends in top 16 to make it here. So it's going to be really exciting to see how that's going to go down as well. And then, of course, the lower bracket is going to be a pretty exciting time as well. Oh, Igni, are we back?
Are we back? Sorry, inclement weather, but I'm back, baby. Apologies for that. But yes, on the bottom side of the bracket, we have Meru versus Cloudy, two, I believe, fresh faces to competitive Shadowverse, right? Is that what they told you, Chris?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then of course we also have Team Disaster Essia and IEV Diru. Essia, a longtime Shadowverse competitor, I believe 2018 World Grand Prix participant, as well as Diru, the teammate of last week's champion, Rs21, also from Team Imagine Epic Victories. So yeah, stacked lineup. It looks like 6 veteran players and 2 new faces here in the top 8. We'll have to see who comes out on top.
Yeah, this is going to be a very exciting time. I mean, lots of interesting decks as well, not just, players coming from all over the place. I think we did a quick tally before this started. We have like 4 mid-range swords, so half the playing field is mid-range sword, 3 Roach Forest, 3 mid-range Abyss. That's a very big increase from last week.
Yeah.
And then 2 Spell Booster Rune, which is a huge decrease actually, 2 Aggro Abysses, 1 Ramp Dragon, and 1 Ward Haven. So looking pretty cool overall in terms of the playing field. A little bit quite different from last week. Surprisingly, only 1 Ward Haven. Kind of thought that maybe that would pick up a little bit more, but it's the mid-range Abyss that picked up so much instead.
Well, I mean, both mid-range Abyss and Ward Haven picked up in the preliminaries. That's the influence of Rs21, I guess. Like, I believe that Ward Haven Spell Boost Rune was the second most brought lineup in this tournament in the preliminary stage. So, yeah, people saw Rs21 having success with this off-meta stuff, and it's like, I can do that. And
yeah, right.
It actually changed the course of the competitive landscape here for this event, which is pretty sick. Like, this late in the expansion lifecycle to still be seeing quite significant meta upheavals is pretty sick as well. And I believe our first match is going to be Honor versus Teddy. So once again, that is Honor from SVO West back in the day, coming back to compete once more with we'll take a look at their lineup soon. I think we can. The players are getting into the lobbies right now, so we should be able to take a look at their lineups right away. So shall we just jump into it and take a look at what decks they're playing?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have Honor going up first, and as you can see, he's got the double mid-range lineup here with the mid-range sword together with mid-range Abyss. I do like this list a lot. Running, the Urius, which I feel like is really, really big in checking certain matchups, and also the Grimnir
my apologies.
inclusion. I do feel like Grimnir in sword has been quite good, especially it gives you like a big edge into certain matchups. So I'm quite a big fan of that. And of course, the mid-range Abyss here as well. Another returning face after winning last week in the first SVO kickoff tournament.
Yeah, it's a very huge uptick in usage. Also, my apologies. It is Honor versus Life as the first matchup. I misspoke there. But yeah, double mid-range decks. I mean, it's just the most flexible way to play at the moment. Like, against Spell Boost Rune, you have the ability to aggress early on, which they have a hard time coming back from unless they perfect roll into Anangrea, Norman, right? But also, against the mid-range matchup, you have enough late game to grind for resources, which is really, really important. I mean, especially Swordcraft just has basically infinite resources with the Amalia. I will say Honor's list is also interesting because not everybody is running that 1x Urius. So we'll have to see if that also, makes or breaks this run here. I guess we can take a look at Life's list next if we have those up. Very interestingly, I think no surprise, if you know Life, he's a very execution-oriented player and a very skilled player. Ladder grinder for many, many years during Classic Shadowverse into Worlds Beyond as well now, as well as a tournament threat. So really no surprise that he's bringing Roach Forestcraft here, the most combo-oriented, execution-heavy deck in the format. And then as well as mid-range Swordcraft here, just because I think it's probably the best deck in the format. So yeah, Life bringing, 2 of the powerhouse classes here. No surprise on that lineup, but I think what you're going to be surprised by is just how efficiently he pilots it. That's the whole trick with Life, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, it's going to be cool to see. We definitely, I want to see some Roach do perform well this week around as well, because we only have we have 3 Roach players in the lineup for the top 8. So we're going to see how far they go this time around. Definitely saw some big upsets last week. So I'm curious to see how things are going to play out this time around as well. We're going to have Honor versus Life, 2 players from 2 completely different regions, which can only happen in SVO, the Shadowverse Open, and this will be the very first game, for technically not for SVO and Worlds Beyond, but for the actual SVO circuit for this year. It is actually the very beginning.
Yeah, let's take a look at the game. The players are in the lobby. They're getting ready, picking what deck to queue into first. Quick reminder, they got to win with both. So one strategy is like picking what you want to queue in with. Do you think mid-range sword for both sides is like the easiest scout, like the least risk?
Yeah, I do think so.
Yeah,
it feels like it has the better matchup spread. It feels like you can just kind of, I guess, Forest into Abyss Sword is not too bad either. So let's see what they pick up on. Oh, it looks like it is going to be a Forest start.
The opposite of what I said. Yeah, Forest and Abyss right away. Let's take a look at who comes out on top. I think Forest generally has pretty good odds here. Because the Abyss, it takes a while for them to stabilize into their more controlling tools, you know what I'm saying? Like with, Wardhaven, for example, the most advantageous matchup versus Roach. You can just, play Ether on 7 and then stall their entire game plan. With Abyss, it's a little harder. Sure, Charon gives you a couple of wards, but they're really small. And then you have to wait until, like, turn 9 for the Gin Yuzu ward wall, right? And by that point, it might already be too late.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how Life chooses to play it out. Of course, Roach is a very difficult deck to play out. But, I believe, as you said, you kind of hyped him up a little bit, going over, just how talented of a player he is.
I mean, he has the accolades to back it up, I'm not just gassing him up with empty air here. Life, multiple time tops for SVO back during the Shadowverse Classic era. Massive tournament grinder as well. And as ladder grinder, he's been streaming Shadowverse for a while too. And I believe, just to mention it right here, he's one of the main practice partners for Essia, who's also in the top 8 today. So,
That's right.
if you want to talk about consistency, there's no other better player more emblematic than Life, other than maybe Sadfeeder, I guess. But there you go.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to be, if they both make it to finals, it's going to be very hype. 2 practice partners getting to duke it out. Already, and the best thing is, if you meet in finals, you're both already qualified for the finals in Singapore at the end of October. So that kind of reduces a little bit of the stress, but you're still, you got to show who the better player is between the two of you, right?
That being said, Honor, no slouch himself. Like, we talked about his history a little bit, like multiple time tops in SVO West back in the day. Now back at it again in the new game. And, getting the Vuela down to clear the carbuncle here. And having a little bit of aggression. I'm worried about his mid-game curve, though, Chris. Like, already used the extra play point, so you can't cheat out the Undead Soldier. No real power play going into turn 4 or 5. Like, how do we feel about the situation? Meanwhile, Life has the Godwood Staff up on the field and a Cairn in hand, plus 2 Glades to clear whatever boards Honor presents. It's a little dire.
Yeah, I'm assuming Honor is kind of living under the assumption that, like, all right, let's imagine that Life is going to spend a lot of these early turns just kind of farming throughout cards, and so instead we're going to go for this more aggressive game plan that we're kind of seeing him set up a little bit here. But then, yeah, as you said, the mid game is a little bit suspect in this situation, and I am curious to see how things are going to be ironed out, because for the time being, it is a little bit, we do have good plays for later, but it's like the Undead Soldier is going to be really nice, just like an annoying several bodies on the board that even with a lot of the board clear, like, you're going to kind of have to just commit, your AoE board clear in order to deal with it. But instead here, yeah, all you can do really is Vuela Path, I guess, right?
Yeah, Vuela Pass with no turn 5 in hand either. So, like, if he doesn't draw a Charon or an Aragavi next turn, it might just be a dead mid-game, letting Life just accumulate resources risk-free. And you don't want to be doing that if you're up against Roach. You're already signing your death warrant before the game's even close to over.
No, yeah, you really don't. So right now for Life, I do like that he's playing the Fairy Fencer. We've seen, I think there was the major tournament in Hokkaido in Japan today that was also won by, I'm pretty sure it was a Forest Rune lineup. And we
yes, it was Roach Forest. It was Roach Forest and Spell Boost Rune using 3 Flames of Chaos as well. So pretty cool technology happening even this late in the lifespan of the set. So
Yeah, right. I mean, it feels like usually, we've got 2 sets of a card pool, and a lot of the kind of like techs and whatnot have already been discovered, but it's because, the format continues to move, and because there are this certain idea of like what the meta is, that these sort of choices and cards that might not have been as common in the earlier weeks are starting to pick up now as well. And here we see Life gets the full clear while also activating the extra draw. Very important here, without necessarily having to commit to the Glade. I mean, the Glade's too early anyway, but, you have an easier time to deal with a board while still setting up a bit of a board yourself too.
And all Honor got was Orthrus. This is super low tempo. Like, if it hits the, okay, you get a 4-3 up, but I guess next turn you just slam the Undead Soldier. But here, you're not really presenting any threat. That early game aggression Honor was trying to present, turns 1, 2, 3, is already kind of falling off a cliff here. Like, I don't want to, it's still anybody's game, of course. Like, if he stabilizes with Undead Soldier into Olivia, drawing into his more controlling tools, and he just sets up a ward wall with the Ginyuzu, it's still fine. And of course, Life still needs to find the Rhinoceros, right? Which is the most important thing, as we learned from last week as well. When you don't get the Rhinoceros, you don't get your win condition. But I don't know. Like, I think with the current hand quality that Life is presenting, it might be an uphill battle.
Yeah, don't remind me, dude. Having to think back to last week where we were looking at bottom 10 triple Rhinoceros is definitely not what I want to see this week. I think I'm good on that one, and I'm sure Life is too.
Nah, yeah, that's true. I don't want to be the cause of a caster curse, so let's just hope that doesn't happen here. That being said, bouncing the Cairn is fantastic here. Getting one of the Deepwood memories. So just to recap for players who might be tuning in to this tournament and, they might be new to the game, with Rhinoceros Forestcraft, the entire aim of the deck is to build up these low-cost resources like a zero-cost Deepwood memories, so you can build up your combo count for an explosive Rhinoceros one-turn kill turn. That being said, where's the Roach?
Yeah, where is he? Like, that's the problem, is that if you don't see the Roach, like, you have plenty of ways to deal with a board in this hand for Life, and you're also drawing a bunch of cards. Second Staff, I guess, can technically help you with that, but I don't think you have the play points to be playing that against this board. But
this Soldier is kind of hard to deal with, right?
Yeah. But the good thing with Honor's deck is that you basically get to just continuously put down threats, and each body comes with the risk of, you don't clear this, you are going to be in trouble. So Life has to play pretty reactionary right now, but at least he's picking up good ways to deal with the board.
This is a really clean clear with the ambush from above, though, just being able to clear this. The unfortunate thing is if ambush from above is played, it is an overdraw situation unless you spend the Deepwood memories, right? And this is where you would want to see a card like Nature's, the 2-cost spell, Garden's Allure? I want to say yes, correct. I got it right. Okay, that's where you want to see the Garden's Allure being able to help manage your hand size with the fuse, right? So yeah, Life is going to choose to play the Fairy instead of the ambush from above. Is he going to use the Deepwood memories to prevent overdraw? That's the big decision. Do you value your average card in the deck more than a zero-cost enabler for Roach? Or are you worried about the risk of milling Roach? He's thinking it down to the last second, chooses not to spend the Deepwood. If the next draw is a milled Roach, he might be kicking himself for that. We'll have to find out when it ticks over to Life's turn again. But now we got this sort of edge of suspense about this.
I like the suspense. It's good. It builds up, it builds up hype, builds up action out here. Now, Honor, like, pretty easy to deal with target here. You do have ways to present threats on the board. The Olivia's going to come down here, try to heal nothing, but
not great.
Dig into the deck and not find anything, as you said.
Yeah, doesn't have a combo play to play alongside this Olivia. I mean, I suppose you could crack the Shadow Crypt Memorial, super evolve the Olivia, get a Ghost to go face, right? That is an option, especially since with mid-range Abysscraft, you have a lot of ways to address board without spending evolve points, particularly Medusa. So you can afford to use your super evolves more aggressively this way. Not too bad. I wouldn't be super surprised if we see an extra play point into another Shadow Crypt as well, but
that's true. I do feel like that's a pretty good option just because it sets you up for next turn as well. Also, if you do find your... So we're 10 shadows. That means if he sees his Kerberos off the top, then setting up the second Shadow Crypt is also pretty good because the Cerberus will give you the buff on that. That's basically 6 damage, Super Evolve 9 damage right off the bat without needing to Super Evolve the Cerberus itself.
Oh, also, like, to be fair, with Unnur's play here, you could also use the extra play point just to get out a Ginyuzi, right? And that would be really hard for the Roach to get through. That's probably what he's conserving the extra play point for. That being said, like, Life's amazing early start here, where Unnur was slowing down in his aggression, suddenly it comes to a head where Life has all of the gas, but none of the car itself. So how are we going to get the Roach out here when Roach is at the bottom 20? And you're already at 10 defense facing a potential Kerberos turn.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing, dude, I just feel like every time, like both last week and this week, the first round on stream playing Roach doesn't seem to go too well. I really hope this doesn't become a constant.
Yeah, I don't want that to be a tradition we set up here, Chris, but it might be going that way, depending on what these Godwood Staves draw. I mean, we already have the 0-cost Bale in hand here. Godwood Staff. To be fair, if it gets a Roach now, Limaga, Garden's Allure, Roach, bottom 20, all 3.
At least the Allure helps to, kind of sort through the hand now. That being said, the Fuse Fodder is not exactly the best in this hand. But yeah, this is the easy Unnur choice. Just go for the Ginsetsu and Yuzuki. Set up a full board, and it's like, all right, let me see you answer this.
I mean, this is probably a Limaga play, right? Lock down the Ginsetsu, lock down one of the Foxes, take out another Fox. The Ginsetsu and the Fox are just taking board space on Unnur's board while dealing chip. That being said, how do you connect that into a winning play next turn? We do see a Roach in the hand. I believe if you do play Limaga, you probably don't die. But it's also a little risky because you always have to take into account the possibility of Cerberus in the back, right?
Exactly. I mean, it is a risky game plan, but I think this will, at the very least, kind of delay things a little bit. And it's kind of like the punishment for playing Ginsetsu in the first place, right?
Notice this selection, though. He locks down a Fox and the Ginsetsu, but targets the Super Evolve effect of Limaga on one of the non-locked down Foxes. Because over the course of this turn and next turn, or if you just trade a Fairy in this turn itself, that's another award cleared. And then you just take out the locked Fox with Bale next turn. And then that's how you or do it now. If you take out the non-locked Fox now, it prevents a Kerberos play too. So this is probably the safest way to navigate this turn. I think I agree with this on Life's side.
Yep, we're down to 1. Both followers on the board are locked down as well.
Although using that Bale means you're lacking another 0 cost for the Roach turn, but now that you're at 10 play points, I feel like you should be fine, right? Yeah, especially with 2
bounces. That's the important thing.
Yes, yeah, right. So you have 2 bounces and a Carbuncle still in hand.
Yep, Super Evolve still available too. So looking at the hand on Life side, it's like you got 0, 1. You can technically make a lot of 1s in this hand as well, since you can generate a lot of fairies.
Yeah,
and realistically, if you're going to be playing Roach, I mean, with the double bounce...
Well, you have double free bounce with Godwood Staff, so you can use the Carbuncle to bounce Fairy instead for more cards played. So it would be like Deepwood, Fairy, Bunkle, the Fairy, Super Evolve, Bunkle, trade into Ward. But, you know, interesting. Unnur using Gin for destroy and not more wards. I wonder if that was the right choice. I mean, the heal is important, but I think this might already be curtains. Oh, because you can bounce the Cairn too for another 0 cost.
We'll give another 0 cost spell. This is big. So we're currently at combo 3, combo 4.
Okay.
Refund the 3 play points for the Carbuncle. This will trade out the ward as well. So now you're essentially, I mean, you can play, this is 5.
You can play
6,
Roach 3 times. Yeah,
7.
this is super lethal. Yeah, with Cairn buff. Yeah.
So this is 18 damage from literally just playing 3 Roach over and over and over again. And Life, It took a little bit to see the Roach, but managed to find it. Triple bounce is all that you need to
Oh, that's way overkill, too. Yeah, way overkill. I mean, you might see a turn like that and think that it kind of came out of nowhere. But if you were watching that game, if you were paying attention, you know that Life was building to that end game the entire game, preserving the Bale right when he needed it. And, like, even in turns where he would spend an evolve point on a fairy instead of spending ambush from above because he knew that he could use it in a different turn, like, it's really important. I feel like with Roach, the lethal calculation might be, I mean, it's important, but like with all the other factors in mind, I think the most important is actually resource management. And Life just showed a masterclass on how to do that right there. Like proving that, you know, as long as you plan like 5 turns ahead, I think Roach is pretty much unstoppable.
Yeah, 100%. I also like that Life's name on his like actual Shadowverse account is Hyakupak Goshi. Is like, I want 100 packs. So you just constantly...
That's what I'm saying every time I open a park chest, man. I've been saying that.
If my park chest next set don't give me 100 packs, man, I'm gonna change my name too.
All
right, well, we're going to get to here. We're gonna have
Honor
mid-range Sword versus mid-range Abyss.
Yeah, Honor requeuing.
Mid-range.
I think mid-range Abyss. It's tough because Sword can outgrind mid-range Abyss, surprisingly enough. Like, if you don't see 3 Genyuzu on time, and they have the Gildaria in the back, it's really hard to clear once all the evolves are out. That being said, if you do have all the tools, like, mid-range can just clear sword boards. The important thing is to find Gravy in your mulligan. Sorry, Aragami. I call him Gravy. We're close. Gravy. We're close personal friends. It's to find Aragami in the mulligan. It's the most important card in this matchup. If you don't find Aragavi, you solo lose to Zirconia on the mid game. But with the Aragavi in the hand for Unner, he actually does have the answer to Sword's mid game here. So we'll see how this goes leading into. I think the most important turns are like turn 4, 5, 6 now. But yeah, honestly, not a bad start for Unner here.
I want to give you guys watching a really cool piece of trivia. So Unner he's been obviously playing Shadowverse for a very long time, and he's been around the scene for a very long time as well. But he actually, you can see the Sword is part of his lineup, and Sword is one of his favorite classes. But he actually brought Sword to his very first ever Shadowverse Evolve tournament, which is the physical card game of Shadowverse as well, and he won with it. And speaking of Shadowverse Evolve, there is actually a major tournament in Europe for it right now this weekend, and he actually, like, the people he's staying with in his hotel room for the event basically left the hotel room so he can play his top 8 match. He's literally playing from the hotel right now.
That's amazing. Bro is competing at 2 forms of Shadowverse basically at once. That's awesome.
He's actually just parallel drifting. That's insane.
All right, so we saw the Vuela be able to clear here, and now Life is... It's very obvious for a Zirconia play here, although you could also extra play point into Luminous Mages. Also a valid play. If any of those live, you then Zirconia that board, and if you Mages into Zirconia, it's also less vulnerable to Aragavi. But I think saving the extra play point for Enhanced 6 Vault is also a valid decision, which is why you saw Life like thinking that turn through there. But yeah, these are the decisions you have to make, especially like with a mid-range versus mid-range matchup. Any bit of value you get helps in the grind game, right?
Yeah, like Aragavi, you kind of know that you're assuming your opponent's going to play out the Aragavi here. Forcing them to commit the Evo here, though, is not necessarily too bad, because Sword now does have a little bit of sustain here and there, as we see with the Tentacles in the hand right now as well. But on the other hand, if you're making, you know, Abyss self-damage themselves, well, they're going to get some sustain down the line, but that could help you inch closer towards a Enhanced Albert Lethal if you save the extra play point for that too.
Is this ever extra play point Vols pre-evolve, next turn extra play point Odin, next turn Tentacles? I feel like that's the line Life is going with. Get the Abyss down dead to rights before their healing can even take form. because they're healing in Ginyuzu and in Olivia. It doesn't happen until way later in the game. He's actually doing it. I think this is the right line, and Life saw it the same moment I did.
He saw it, he did it, and here comes
but the second Aragami does come out, punishing that play. That being said, extra play point into Tentacles, into Urias is still a line he can take.
Yep. This is, I mean, Urias pickup here is pretty big, although I'm always a little bit more hesitant to play it in the Abyss matchup just because they do typically have more ways to answer it.
But like Urias gets like hard countered by Ginyuzu, right? That's the problem. I feel like the Urias is really just there to address Roach.
Yeah. It's Roach and also the mirror match because you assume that you're going to run into mid-range sword a fair bit. So I feel like it is quite good once you play on those very specific timings that you know it's going to stick.
Like before their Gildaria. But my only issue with playing Urias, right, in the mirror match is that they run the copies of Odin, so it's tough too. But
yeah. Odin is definitely what undoes a lot of it. Here the question is, do you commit this evolve? I feel like it is a lot of threat coming from the Aragavi, but at the same time, I feel like you could have conserved the evolve point there too, because now you're just down to 1, and at the end of the day, the mid-range mirror, I guess, between two mid-range decks does sometimes come down to who doesn't run out of stamina, and a big part of your stamina in Shadowverse is your evolve points.
Yeah. I mean, the issue with that is that if he didn't super, Aragavi would have stayed up. What was the downside of that? Like, what was the worst case scenario Life was planning around there?
A third Aragavi comes down, takes out a bunch of the board, and then you get to kind of like, aggressively evolve like the third Aragavi potentially, and then the other one just goes face. But you burned 3 plus also got 5 face damage, so that would have actually pushed the damage differential quite a bit. So I do get it.
Well, I think also, like, when you're the one dictating the pace of the game, you spending your evolve can often force the opponent to spend theirs, and if you think you have the more grindy hand. That being said, I don't think Life has the more grindy hand right now, because I'm seeing a Cerberus and 2 Ginyuzus in others' hands, so I'm actually a little unconfident about Life's prospects here, especially if he leaves literally any of this up. The Cerberus is gonna swing for so much next turn, right? So I feel like Honor is putting Life in a position where this all has to be cleared or else.
I mean, you can go 2-2 into 4, 2-2 into 2-2, Urias super evolve, take out the Charon, and then, they have to have Odin. If they don't have Odin, Urias sticks.
But if they do have Odin, you lose the game on the spot.
Hey, man. The greatest gamblers are the greatest winners,
Do you at risk when it's single limb? Let's find out. No, he does go for the
okay. He goes for the safe play.
Chris. You know that picture of the guy with the pickaxe mining towards the diamond shaft or whatever? That's what you're reminding me of right now. I mean, if Life knew what we knew, that Honor didn't have the Odin, man, he would have done it 100%. But, we have that buff called Caster's Eye, where we can see the entire state of the game and the players cannot. So,
That's right.
There it is.
This is pretty heads-up play into Cerberus, just because you get to... I mean, the super evolve on the ward is also pretty big here, because it makes taking out the Amelia quite difficult, because the Ginyuzu is not available until next turn. So you're going to have to hard trade a lot of this, and then also, I think we don't have any 1-drops in the pool right now, so you can actually kind of manipulate what you're reviving from.
Well, the problem is, I think Honor is forced to revive Mimi. While you would want to revive Coco, unfortunately, Coco only has 1 attack on the reanimate. So if he reanimates Coco, he's not going to be able to clear the Knights, right? Or at least it's going to take more resources to clear the Knights. He is going for the heal though, knowing that he kind of has to. But this is less efficient, and because he revived Mimi instead of Coco, Amalia is alive. If he revived the Mimi instead, he could have been able to take out more.
You don't want that. Amalia's staying alive is huge, especially
Oh, that being said, would it have made a difference? I guess the healing is more important, but like this is still a bad situation to be in, right?
Yeah. This is like if you had if the Amalia sticks around for one more turn, it's gonna be absolutely crazy. I see the slight hover by Live over the Urias, but
no, it's definitely not the turn for Urias.
No. It's not gonna be enough yet. I think this is just an Odin swing and pass. Unfortunately, it does leave Amalia very much open in the fray for anything, but the ward of the Odin is a little bit helpful. That being said,
I mean, if you can bait out a Ginyuzu destroy now, that's just less reactions he has in the late game. Oh, he's actually going for Olivia super evolve onto a Fildao to double clear with the 2 super evolve followers, right? The only problem is that that's the last super. We are now in what I like to call the end game, where all the evolves are out. The benefit that Sword has at this stage of the game is that Gildaria supers for free. It's all a matter of whether Life can find it on time. It's pretty much it, right? Oh, that does help.
Now in burnout mode. Amelia, what can you find? This will be the
if that Amelia gets Gildaria.
Do you have to have Gildaria? Is that actually your only choice?
I think Gildaria might be the only out, yeah. Every other play here gets hard punished by Ginyuzu.
Yeah, and you're at 12, so you're not exactly chilling either. The tentacles, there is a world where you could technically tentacles try to heal to 17 while dealing 5 to the face, but I think his list only plays the 1 tentacles, right?
You can't tentacles face here because if they have Serb, you just die, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's too risky. I think the only play is Amelia Gildaria, but that's a gamble and a half.
Mm-hmm. I think you got to go for it. Yep, Amelia's going to come down. Let's see what it finds. Time is running out.
Gildaria, but Samurai is pretty good. Samurai does help.
Not the end.
I think you it's either Grimir or the Prim. Yeah, just go for Prim, set up a Bane ward. I think that does
Prim
help
is safer.
Enter some threats. Thing is, I would have liked the Grimnir here because if you're constantly going to be in situations where Gildaria is your out, you might want to have the super evil buff. But
that
yeah,
top deck Serb gets the dub onto the mid-range sword. I think this would have been a different story if Life was able to secure that early game. The second Aragavi from Honor taking out the ambushed Valse saved him the entire game. Because if that didn't happen, it would have been Odin into Tentacle into immediate win. But because that's why Aragavi is just straight up single-handedly the most important card in that matchup, and Honor getting all of them certainly sealed the deal. And I mean, this is what you want, right, Chris? First match of the day, yep. 2 SVO legends going into game 3. This is exactly what you want to see.
Going into a sword mirror as well. This is going to be pretty hype. Just getting to see the clash of their ideas. Let me take a look. Use this moment to see what differences we have in their lists. We have 3 versus 2 Quickbladers. We have 1 Royal Coachwoman versus none. We have 2 Sarias versus none. It's actually quite a few differences. Rosé still being played on Honor's side as well here. Oh, my bad, sorry. Rosé's still being played on Live side.
Yeah. I think the Saria and the Rosé are pretty heads-up techs from Life if you're expecting a lot of mid-range sword mirrors, right? Because Saria can take out Quickblader plus Samurai, it can take out Lancer, right? Or it can take out Prim from ambush position as well. So I think in the mirror, I would say that Life has the edge. That being said, of course, it's really close, given that they're the same archetype, right? I think what matters even more than that is the fact that Life has 2 Gildarias in the opener, and that's the single-handedly best card to answer sword boards. They gave that tool to Sword itself. So, having that in the back is incredibly useful because that can just take out any board that Honor presents.
Yeah, the only thing is going to be on-tempo Zirconia is going to be so big because there's no super easy way to take care of that. So here, I think if you're Honor, do you just chuck the Vals here just to take out the opposing Vals? It feels kind of bad. I feel like you might as well just Samurai trade, but then you don't get the body. With Vals being put down, you would at least kind of have something to like stick if they trade with the 1/1, and then your Quick Blader sticks.
Well, the problem is that if you Vals now, you know they already have Prim on board. Vals is the only way to take out Nonya in an efficient manner, right? Whereas if you play Samurai now, you can take out the Vals and then play Vals next turn for the Nonya that comes out. That being said, like you said, you don't keep the body. It's a tough decision. I think you could have gone either way.
Yeah. You need to kind of play for the Zirconia turn 4 play here, I think. Because that's, I think, the most important turn in the mirror when you go second. Like, if you can set up a good Zirconia turn here, it's a lot of threat.
Yeah, true. The issue is that with Nonya on board, the Zirconia can't, like, overtrade. It just dies to the Bane. So it like, live setting the Prim up 2 turns ago really blunts the edge of Honor's power play here. Like, now 100%. All that does is make 2 2/2s, which is easily blocked by the mages on the life's next turn. So, like, yeah, I agree with you that in this mirror, it's generally for the best to go for Zirconia on the evolve turn. But Life is, you know, showing that he knows how to navigate situations like this and to make the power plays of the opponent feel as uncomfortable as possible.
Yeah, super important. Like, that's the whole thing of winning the mirror is you both know what the other player wants to be doing, so you're trying to prevent that from happening as much as possible. So shutting down the Zirconia, or not shutting down, but making it be inefficient and just, you know, passing on, you know, a board of 2 2/2s, as you said, is very efficient. But I think also Honor probably looked at this board and just, or at this hand and went, well, what else can I really do? Nothing else is really that good. And that does come back. So again, maybe the Samurai should have been used last turn. We could have kept the Vals here, and then it would have looked a little bit different.
Right, and you could have saved the Zirconia for a turn 5 or turn 6 play alongside a Samurai or a Prim or something like that. That being said, I mean, we saw how fast Life slammed down that Magus. I mean, he saw this line coming from a mile away. And I just generally, I think Life has the edge because of the 2 Gildarias in hand. Like, that's the make or break card in this mirror a lot of the time.
Yeah. Now that we got to this part of the game, 100%. This is going to be pretty tough because, again, you have now it's like, this is like the big parallel of the Nonya with the Bane, right? It's like, in the early game, before the turn 4, before the first evolve turn, she poses such a big threat because, oh, I'm going to lose my Zirconia. But now, once we get to turn 6, it's like, well, Gildaria literally is going to deal 2 damage to the entire field and summon 2 things that one of them can trade away, and you have a 6/6 standing healthy remaining on the board. And you have 5 damage
behind 2 wards
this turn as well.
Behind 2 wards, because the Magus is alive too. So that's really tough. Like, it's going to be very difficult for Honor to make it back from this position. I mean, just finding the Gildaria, I think, do you even hardball for it in the mulligan in this matchup? Because of just, like, how impactful it can be in the mid-game. Oh, Odin is not what you want to see here, unfortunately.
Yeah.
No easy way to take out that Gildaria from this position. Can't extra play point into Amalia yet. Prim, Nonya, Samurai still doesn't take out the Gildaria behind the 2 wards from the Luminous Mage's effect. If that Gildaria sticks, it's
the only way to, like, not the only way, but it's like you have the Grimnir buff, so technically you could Odin the Gildaria and then, like,
super evolve and sit.
Literally, it's so bad. It's not what you want to be doing. Otherwise, Super Evolve is going to have to happen this turn regardless because the 2 damage AoE is very efficient.
This is the only thing you can do.
Like, it is!
It's the only way! Every other play doesn't address the Gildaria. So,
yeah.
This is so... That is tough, man. Like, if I was in Honor's position, I would be quite stressed.
This is just so tough.
Leaving the Magus on board too is... that's so tough.
Yep. Olivia here is a good play. I mean, at this point, you want to start keeping your Gildarias for the self-evolve from the fanfare.
Off the rally,
Olivia
right?
here looks really good, yeah.
Oh, and getting a Prim is really interesting. Do you ever evolve Olivia Prim and get the ambush with a 4/4 in the back? Was that an option, or was it just better to present more threat?
I think the idea is that once you get to like 10 play points, you do have Gildaria, Prim, Nonya as just like a very kind of like
true,
self-presenting situation.
Yeah.
So I think if you're playing for that, because right now like your turns are kind of set for you, right? Next turn is gonna be you can do Amalia next turn, or if they only put down like one thing, or if they spend their entire board answering your board. If we see Life put down the Urias next turn, that kind of just freezes the game state. Like there is very little you can do.
Especially after seeing Honor have to commit the Odin just to address a Gildaria, right? I believe most mid-range swords only play... Honor only plays one Odin! Knowing that it's an open decklist tournament, knowing that the Odin is out, is this a Urias turn? Remember, this is open decks.
Yeah. So the thing is that the 4/1 will stick because you can Urias Super Evolve, trade a 7/5 away, but the 4/1 sticks, and then all they would need is another, like, well, I guess if they Super Evolve, then they still need another 6 damage, so it's not as easy. So I do think Amalia here isn't bad either. The only thing is that they will Amalia back.
I mean, this is definitely the safer play, because it also builds up your rally count for Gildaria on the next turn, which you can play alongside Amelia for, a draw engine plus getting barrier on your Gildaria, which is just absolutely filthy. But yeah, I think this is definitely the safer play. But like knowing that Honor only has one Odin, that Urias it's genuinely a valid option.
You know what else you can do next turn? Because this, I think they were on Rally 14 before they played the Amalia, so they should be in Rally 19. So they could technically do Grimnir Gildaria, and then if we see Honor play their own Amalia here, that means that you get to get the free Super Evolve on Gildaria with Grimnir's effect to trade away all the 3/2s. And I mean, the only issue is that the Amalia stays up, right?
Well, I mean, he has to spend the bodies just to trade anyway.
The 3/2s are gone from Gildaria's effect. What am I saying? But I guess it's still good to have the leader effect there. But it depends if you value that over the Amelia to trade. But this is
Odin. GG.
I mean, yeah, that's
lethal
the Odin
in hand.
That's gonna be huge, and that is gonna
really
be the dub.
Yeah, that's the dub. I was just gonna say, sorry to talk over you there for a second. I just wanted to say that Life really navigated it in a way where, despite going first, which a lot of people see as disadvantageous because the going second player can just land the Zirconia evolve first, Life was able to navigate that from the original turns to make the plays as uncomfortable as possible for Honor, and that really made the difference. Like forcing the Zirconia into the Nonya, huge. That basically decided the game. And also like forcing the Odin to get that Gildaria was so punishing too. That being said, I want to say congratulations to Honor for, coming back to SVO. It's been a couple years. Very heartening to see some old faces come back, and I hope we see him again going forward in the series. Unfortunately, though, this tournament is single elimination, so let's take a look at the bracket. Honor is going to leave, still taking home nothing you can sneeze at, chunk of change, but Life is going to be advancing to the semifinals with a 2-1 record. The next match is going to be Teddy versus DB Tempest, and whoever wins this is going to go up against Life in the semis. Now, Tempest, I'm well aware of. Part of Team Dawnbreakers, that's the DB in front of the name, as well as the only dragon in this format. And we'll talk about the deck list in a second. What do you know about Teddy? Not a name I'm super familiar with here.
Yeah, so Teddy is definitely a new name for us in the Shadowverse scene. And I did get to ask a few questions to all of our top 8 before we got started with the games today. And Teddy actually comes from a different card game and was actually a world finalist for it as well, which is pretty insane.
Wow.
So continuing from last week, we have lots of big names and lots of competition from all kinds of card games gathering in Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. So this is not going to be an easy matchup by any means for Tempest, I'm afraid. Even if you have the buff of being behind a team, being someone that was already topping an original Shadowverse, this is someone that's been topping in a different card game, and it's going to be a pretty heated one, I think.
I mean, just like you said, it's just amazing to see all these talents from across the gaming spectrum all converge here in Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. I mean, last weekend, like you said, we had Maxibon, we had Mystery, and now Teddy. Let's take a look at the list. I'm super excited for this matchup here. Somebody new to Shadowverse, but not new to card games versus somebody who's been entrenched. And this is maybe the most interesting lineups of the whole day, too. So let's take a look at the lineups.
All right. So, all right, let's get into it and see. First, I think we'll probably take a look at Teddy's lists as they are on the upper side of the bracket. So you can see they're running the Spell Boost Runecraft, going to be the debut for the deck here on this weekend's SVO. So you see quite a few of the Earthright techs compared to what we've been usually seeing here and there. Of course, the Pascal's Dance, I guess we haven't seen too much of. Arcane Eruption, I think we did see last week as well being played. Overall, just being able to use the Norman, of course, to give you some more sustain, give you more board presence or card draw, depending on which effect you want to use. And then the Roach Forest Craft, we just saw in the first game as well. Just take it in a very tight and close match with Roach being kind of missing in action for the majority of the game until the very end. So we'll see how friendly Roach is with Teddy in this one.
The Roach arrives precisely on time or not at all. That's my experience with the Roach generally. Yep. But yeah, the spell boost is interesting. Like you said, the Arcane Eruption tech, very good against the mid-range decks. And yeah, excited to see how he brings it. We know that Spell Boost Rune recently just won the Hokkaido event too, the Extra Championship in Japan. So we'll see if it has a good performance in this top 8, especially since, much to many people's surprise, only 2 Spell Boost Rune players in this entire top 8. So not even the top represented deck, even though a lot of people see it a lot on ladder. Let's see if Teddy can make some waves with it in the competitive scene right here, right now. Now, with Tempest deck list, let's take a look. Very interesting lineup on this side. Mid-range Abysscraft and Ramp Dragoncraft in the top 8. Listen, as a caster, I know. Let's be neutral. Let's be unbiased. But in my heart of hearts, I know who I'm rooting for. That being said, Tempest has quite the funny story here. I was interacting with him over on social media before this event started, and he didn't realize that he had to play the same decks from prelims into the stage 2. So in prelims, it's a best of 1 format, and he played 10 rounds using only Abyss, then realized he would be forced to actually win with Dragon, and actually made it! Won with Dragon in the play-in, and now Dragon is in the top 8. And very funny, I think you mentioned earlier in the cast as well, he actually beat out one of your friends from a different card game as well, using that Dragon list. So maybe it's got the secret sauce.
My friend, I'm pretty sure, might also be at the same tournament that Unner is in for Shadowverse Evolve right now. So
very
that's
cool.
Also kind of funny. They're all just like playing both Worlds Beyond and Shadowverse Evolve in the same weekend, which is kind of crazy when you think about it.
That's what you want to see, right? Rising tide raises the entire IP, hey? That being said, this Ramp Dragon is very interesting. No Fenny whatsoever. Very similar to a list that I've been running myself. I think we got the list from the same source. It's just a one card difference. Yeah. But yeah, just Ramp and Storm. You know, this 97-year-old diner still serves Ramp the old-fashioned way, and he's doing it without the use of the playpoint hacking Fenny. So let's see if it'll actually be able to make waves in this tournament here, especially against Teddy, who's coming from another competitive card game. I'll be super interested to see how this matchup in particular goes. The players are ready to get going. Let's dive into the match. They just have to decide what decks they're going to queue in first in this best of 3. Once again, 2 decks, different classes. You have to win with both decks to advance. I'm not sure. I guess Abyss would be the easiest play for Tempest. It's the safer one with the less polarizing matchups.
Given his run throughout the entire weekend, you'd imagine that's what it happens, right?
Yeah. I would assume so. I mean, he played all 10 of his preliminary rounds, not touching Dragon a single time, only to find out that he actually has to use it. So let's see what he cues in with first. Heading into the game, DB Tempest versus Teddy. It is indeed the Abysscraft versus the Forestcraft on Teddy's side. The mid-range Abyss that Tempest is running, pretty standard, I would say. The only interesting thing is 2 Apollos teched in for the sword matchup. Unfortunately, completely not a factor in most of the games he's going to be playing here. But also the 1 Devious Lesser Mummy and 2 Rage of Serpents. That being said, not that much aggression. And if you can't pressure Roach while they're building the resources, I worry that you're just going to fall apart by the time it comes to the Roach's kill turn. And we saw that just last game, didn't we, in the last series?
Yeah, that's right. I'm curious to see how this is going to work out for Teddy. Again, it's going to be pretty cool to see someone, coming from being a top ranker in a different card game, top performer in a different card game, playing this deck that's like very high execution and, requires a lot of practice and a lot of time management at the same time. But this Abyss list, I mean, we've been seeing it so much after last weekend. It's kind of crazy how much is popping off and, just how popular it is specifically in the SVO circuit. Because, looking at the results from the Japanese tournaments, sure, it's picking up, but not as much as on the SVO circuit, I'd say.
That's the RS21 difference, baby. The influence is undeniable. You can't fake influence.
That's true, dude. Seeing a 2/2 get buffed by an Amulet and become a 3/3 on turn 2 is kind of bringing me back to a different kind of Shadowverse right about now that we were talking about before we started the stream today.
True. I mean, I'm seeing Teddy's execution of this deck is quite different to how we saw Life pilot it in the first set. It's very much more aggressive and a little more tempo oriented. You saw that he extra play pointed out the Fairy Fencer on turn 1 just to get a little bit of damage in. Will that actually pay off? I mean, I think this turn you just trade into a Garden's Allure. That's what I would do. But instead, he just lands the Lily as a body, which is very interesting to me.
Yeah, it's a very aggressive way to play out the deck. I mean, it does maybe come from the fact that he's not seeing the Godwood Staff, not seeing the Garden's Allure, so there's like no draw power in this hand.
So he has the Garden's Allure right there in the top left.
Oh, my bad. He does have Garden's Allure. In that case, that is quite interesting. I feel like this would be a good turn to try to like find that Godwood Staff, and but instead of playing that out for trying to set up the draw power for later, choosing to just play on tempo here, and I'm sure it's not necessarily a play that Tempest would be so used to.
I think with this board, do you just land the zombie? Interesting. Getting the ward up. I think the only way Tempest sees to... Like, here's the thing. If you get the 2-drop destroyed as well, it gives a reanimate target for the Charon. That's actually really important. So I do understand why he played the Orthrus instead of the zombie here, right? Because the zombie is a 3-cost, so it wouldn't get reanimated by the Charon. So if he plays Charon the next turn, which is his only play, it would only get 2 1/1s back. At least with this, if he puts the Orthrus in the way, he does get an Orthrus off the reanimate and potentially the board clear off of the evolve effect. So I understand this play. It's just a bit sad that it's not the most efficient use of play points as well.
It's not too bad though. I mean, you got the extra draw from the evolve here, which picked up the Bale, if I'm not mistaken, which is going to be very big for dealing with some of these Abyss boards too. Garden's Allure for the draw power. Pick up the Roach, so we're not digging into the bottom 20 here this time.
Roach in hand, but Cairn already used up and no Godwood Staff. I'm a little worried it's not going to be enough. That being said, Teddy doing the early game chip is trying to pick up that slack. I always say this, when you think about Roach this way, it becomes a lot more simple. Any damage you do between turns 1 to 7 is just less work your Roach has to do later on. So if you think about it that way, every bit of chip that Teddy is getting in is incredibly valuable. Especially with Abyss, they don't get their big healing off until turn 9. So it really, like, most of the damage is going to be permanent unless the game lasts that long.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And like if you're the Roach player, you don't want to let the game go that long, especially if you're going second. You have the extra play points that gives you the boost in your aggression as well. Also, apologies. I think I said that Lily's Evolve picked up the Bale, but looking at it again, it was a 6 cost, and that should already be telling me that was not what was picked up. But coming back to the hand though, I like that it didn't use the Fairy Convocation there, because that does, I mean, because you don't have any 0 cost cards to play, this early chip damage will hopefully connect into like being able to do the Convocation Fairy into like Roach, hopefully some bounce down the line, probably gonna have to be the Carbuncle. So potentially spreading the Roach damage across 2 turns in order to try and find lethal that way, instead of, you know, trying to combo down all in 1 turn. But we'll see. Only 5 play points for the time being, and Glade is gonna answer basically this entire board with the Evolve attack included.
And we get the Godwood Staff picked up a little late, but another Bale also picked up, means Teddy already has essentially 2 0 costs locked up for the Roach turn in 2 turns. Still though, is that I think he doesn't have a turn 7 kill. I think it would have to be turn 8, right? Because next turn would be Staff, Convocation, Fairy, get the Bales down. No Deepwood Memories, only 1 Roach, so you need the Staff down for the bounce. I think it's turn 8 minimum, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see what he draws off the top, though. But the idea is, like, can Tempest even stabilize by that time? Otherwise, he might be chopped already, as the kids say.
Uh-oh. Yeah, this is looking... like, I think there's kind of 2 angles. It depends on what we see played out here from Tempest's side. The Charon, I think, does shut down any very aggressive plays from the Roach, because this is producing 2 different wards, and that is going to be pretty hard to take out with the Bales still being at relatively high cost.
Yeah, so especially after we saw Glade already spent, right? You know.
Yeah, that ambush pickup is actually pretty good, though.
Oh, this is actually pretty easy clear, though, with the Lily, no? Like, if you just reduce the Charon's defense to 1. The only problem is that you are gonna lose a Fairy here unless you play the ambush first.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other angles that we can take this in, because right now it's just the Bales are a bit too high cost, so I think you do want to take this turn to farm up a little bit, and the Lily really does help here too. So
yeah,
but the problem is that you want to play the Godwood Staff, you get the 1 cost here, and then that gives you the Lily access as well. This takes care of the Charon, and then the Super Evolve takes care of the 4/4 as well. So at the very least, you're not giving up too many stats on the board that is going to damage you next turn.
You are overdrawing like crazy here, but I guess it doesn't really matter because you already have Roach.
You already have like
2 0 costs.
Right?
Yeah. And like the Carbuncle's gonna help like take out the Bale cost as well, right? Fairy, Carbuncle, Bounce also reduces Bale by 1. And then the Bale becomes a 0 cost. You play Fairy again. The second Bale is at 7, though. That's actually pretty steep.
Yeah, it is that second Bale that's a little bit in the way here, but...
That's why I was originally saying I don't think turn 7 is possible, but depends on what they draw. And also remember that Tempest is at 13, so it's not like he's starting from 0 here.
Yeah, that's the thing. Let's see. Yeah, it's like it's always tough when you're watching these Roach games. It's like we're looking at the hand of the Roach player trying to figure out if they have lethal next turn, while there's still the turn player's turn still happening. But luckily, it's not a mirror match. On the Abyss side, basically, I mean, you have multiple ways to clear. I think Odin getting rid of the amulet is huge.
I was just gonna say, is this ever Odin get rid of the amulet? I think it has to be, because in the off chance they don't have a bounce, this massively reduces the amount of damage output that the Roach has next turn, right?
Exactly.
And I was just gonna say, what if they mill a bug alert? I was literally, it was on the tip of my tongue before it happened, right before my eyes.
The top deck cast a curse you back.
I didn't even vocalize it and it happened. Like, at this point, you know, the universe reading my thoughts, man.
The script is in the mind.
I mean, this is still an easy clear with ambush from above, to be fair. But again, it's not a kill this turn. I don't believe it is.
Do you
anyway.
ambush from above? I feel like you could also. It's not really that good of a turn. It's like I'm thinking if you want to like dip into some damage this turn, you have combo 2 right now. To potentially go like Roach. Roach Carbuncle. It's so small. It really doesn't do enough, and that's your last super evolve.
Well, my concern is that if you give any trade target, it also gives Abyss the option of healing with Mimi, right? Whereas, this is smart. Only presenting a 1/1 threat means that Mimi can't be traded for heal. That's really good. Because Mimi has 2 health. Sorry,
but we don't
Coco
have
has 2 health
yet.
Coco has 2 health. I got them confused. I meant to say Coco because Coco is the one that heals. Yeah, so because the fairy only... The Fairy of the Water only has 1 defense, or 1 attack rather, the Coco can't trade into it and can't be rezzed with the reanimate of Cerberus, meaning that Tempest has 0 healing this turn. And this sets up beautifully for a Roach kill next turn.
That's true. I think Cerberus also doesn't have the buff yet because we're 1 shadow short. So
not that it even matters, right? Like in this board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like if you don't have the healing from the Cerberus in a board state like this, it does feel kind of tough because you don't have any other wards to put down.
Yeah. And no Genyuzu in hand.
Yeah. Yeah, this does feel like you're playing out the cards that would not be used in other situations this turn. Yeah, like the Field Owl is going to just come down for the threat, but this I think is going to be a big turn for Teddy. Yeah, just
I don't know what to tell you.
Push the gas and go.
Tempest board is Weenie Hut Jr. Teddy's got the most the most intimidating Roach of all time. I think this is lethal for sure. Turn 8 as 100%. Predicted. Yep. Bale.
Play point being 2. Bale coming down for 0.
That's 2 0-cost Bales plus Roach plus Carbuncle Super Evolve.
Yep. Carbuncle's like this is literally just the textbook example, right? Of
super
lethal. Wait it out, and there we go.
In my mind's eye, I already saw this turn. It's tough when the Tempest doesn't have the healing tools. Didn't get into the Olivia, right? And again, the biggest healing tool for mid-range Abyss is that Genyuzu, which not only did he not get, but even if he did get it, he wouldn't have even had the opportunity to play it. It's a 9 play point card. It's just way too late. Roach kills you way before that. So, yeah, it's just a tough matchup for mid-range Abyss in general.
Yep, 100%. But we are going to get a game 2. We're going to get the run back and see, now Tempest still has to win with the Abyss before we get to see the Dragon. I want to see the Dragon, so I do
Are we going to get... I was just going to say, Chris, are we going to get through today without even seeing the Dragon? That's the real...
Don't say that. Don't say that. I believe.
You got to believe. That being said, Tempest build of mid-range is not as aggressive as you would want in a matchup against Spell Boost Rune. And if you don't aggress them early enough, you do just straight up lose to Kuon or Kakaitis in the late game. No one drops in this list. You notice that on ladder, I'm seeing mid-range even use Cultivator of Malice these days for this matchup. And not in tournament, though. And that means it's actually kind of tough to navigate the early to mid games against Spell Boost Rune, especially if they get Annangrea, Burgent, or Norman in time. This is going to be a little bit of an uphill battle, I think, for Tempest, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, that being said, I'm sure this isn't the first time they're navigating this matchup, but literally, like, early threats are going to get taken out. I think the one thing you got to hope for is, obviously, you don't see your opponent's hand. So you kind of pray that their hand is full of, like, heavy stuff. They don't have the AoE board clear, they don't have the healing, but unfortunately, we do know that is the case. But otherwise, like, we do have the one Sage Light, but aside from that, the rest of the hand doesn't really have that many answers. Like,
I wonder if you just play homework time now.
I do think that is actually not too bad. Melby comes down instead, though, going to be boosting up the stack to 5 here, I guess.
You know what's funny, Chris? I'm just realizing that's a lot of stack for this early in the game. Does Pascal's second effect ever proc with the Earthright 10? Does that ever happen? If you do that into a Kuon board, that's pretty hilarious.
If you can time it into a Kuon board, dude. Usually, the one time I played a list that actually played the Pascal spell, I think I doubled a 2/2, and I was like, I'm taking this card
out. Real and true and fair, you know? It's another word of wisdom from Chris Differentfight. He doesn't miss.
Dude, I worked so hard for this Earthright 10. How dare you?
Really awkward turn from Tempest here, right? Only a Rage of Serpents and a Mummy in hand. The Mummy doesn't even get the Necromancy effect. This is honestly pretty tough. Extra play point into Aragavi might be the most aggressive option. This, unfortunately, is really bad into opposing Anne and Greya. But Teddy doesn't have it.
They don't exist. And the AoE damage is only 4.
That's an incredibly big gamble. Tempest spending the Aragavi there means he has no answer for Anne and Greya this turn if it happened. And he just was like, I'm going to have to make some pretty hard calls to win this one. And it might have ended up paying off.
Oh,
Aragavi sticks!
Oh my god.
That is massive!
Rage of Serpents for another 3. We're down to 6. Vuela's is going to come down for board presence.
Is he going to pre-evolve it at this point? I think you do. With this line of play.
You have to, right?
You have to. This is unreal. Next turn, if this Vuela sticks, Olivia into Lesser Mommy is game.
No, you don't even need that. Because, I mean, yeah, I guess if... Yeah, you do need the Vuela to stick, actually.
If he doesn't have a trade target, right? Like, if this is full clear without a trade target, he would need a Vuela, but...
No, wait. Because Olivia... Yeah, okay. If there is no trade target, then yeah. If there is, then we got it.
If this is full clear with no trade target, he doesn't have it, but let's see.
Yep.
I will say, though, incredibly hard read from Tempest. Oh, yeah. If Teddy had Anne and Greya, I think Tempest just lost on the spot.
Usually a gamble of a lifetime. We're rolling dice out here.
I mean, at this point, Tempest is thinking, I have to make these calls if I want a chance to win, right? And he actually wins the entire game off of that line of play. Extra play point, Olivia, Lesser Mummy, Crash Mummy faces lethal.
That's it. He sees it. I'm so glad. Manages to find it. Get the draw, but it doesn't matter. All we need is the Lesser Mummy with the Super Evolve. The Olivia doing the 1 burn damage from the Super Evolve attacking. And then the 5 to face will tie up the set. And we are going to see the dragon in top 8.
Anne and Greya, they're stuck in class, okay? They got detention, okay? They didn't show up, and that means that the dragon will be seeing play here in top 8. Who's going to come out on top? Now, in this matchup, it's imperative to get your ramp as fast as possible, because if you can start landing Fortes, Genesis, Dragon Reborns, etc. before the Runecraft can... He got 2 Dragon Signs in the opening hand.
Oh boy, this is the beginning of something great. We're about to see. We're gonna see Dragon make the whole run today. I believe it.
I'm about to lose my mind. Tempest with the hard reads into double Dragon Sign mulligan.
This is gonna. Oh, the rest of his hand is not looking too hot, but it's okay. Just
Tempest mulligan the strike of the dragon. He has no answer against the 2-drop. Doesn't matter.
We don't worry about it. We don't care. It's not gonna happen. Oh my god, there's actually no early game here.
No 2-drop from Teddy. That's the freest sign I've ever seen.
Oh, and the strike just on time.
Tempest?
This is crazy.
Is he the protagonist of the Shadowverse anime or something? Did I miss a memo? What is happening?
We play Dragon.
Oh! Ramp into Odin!
This is insane. This is actually so big. Like, you have ramp into Odin. You can also, like, given that you're assuming they're gonna play point boost into either Burgeon or the Anangrea, you also have Neptune to answer boards too. I mean, she is so good even without the Super Evolve.
Oh yeah, I mean you get the crest on a fanfare, so it's already value. This is Anangrea for sure though.
Yeah, 100%. Do we?
I think Neptune.
Keeping the evolve.
I think you Neptune phase. Am I? No, sorry. I think you Odin phase is what I meant to say.
Okay. I was like, Neptune phase. Okay. I do think that's a good way to do pressure because you've ramped so much. The only thing is your next turn is a little bit weak because you don't have Super Evolve yet, but you do have Phylene to actually take out like everything, and they're going to be spending a turn just taking out your Odin in the first place. Although they do have Stormy Blast in the hand, so
Phylene can hard clear if they play another Anangrea is the thing. Neptune is the safer play. Unfortunately, Neptune gets hard answered by second Anandrea, and you saw them extra play point ANG on turn 4. You know they have the second one in. Odin, banish the summoning, go face, I think is unironically the better play. With the information at hand. You know they have second ANG. That's the only opportunity where they ever, or Burgeon, right? So you know what their next play is. Like, with that information, this is the better play, unironically.
It genuinely is. Drawing the Phylene last turn absolutely changed the trajectory of this turn and this entire game. So, at this point, I think that gamble is about to pay off. And even if you eat some damage from this Anangrea that's on the board right now going face, because she can evolve, do 3 damage off the evolve, and then, I mean, the summoning can basically just trade in. It's not the best, but you are at least tying up the life lead a little bit. But then I'm sorry, Chris. Everything.
I'm still hung up on that last game prediction extra play point into Aragavi with no answers into ANG, predicting no ANG is. I can't believe it. I think Tempest sees the source code or something. Like he's got it in his mind's eye.
It's big. It's huge. These plays
are
wow. Committing double call this turn, that does lower the
This all gets cleared by Phylene. That's the problem. Yep. I think you have to Phylene here. You don't have a choice.
Do you know why, by the way, why Tempest brought Dragon to this tournament in the first place? Do you know the story?
What's up? Why is it?
It's because he opened a Phylene leader 1 day before SVO deck registration.
And was that like a lucky sign or something? Or?
Yeah, it's his favorite card in all of Shadowverse, and that's it. He literally opened the leader 1 day before deck registration and was like, I want to use this.
I mean, if it pays off, I literally cannot think of a... I'm kind of speechless. This is...
We're in the Twilight Zone now, too, dude. This is going to be like every board getting cleared out. Neptune, we can Super Evolve next turn as well for a wide board. It's crazy. Keep in mind
the funny thing about this, too, like with the bait on Phylene, is that they have to spend a Super if they don't want their Burgeon to just instantly die to it, too, right?
Yep.
Teddy had a really impressive showing with that Roach last game. And, you know, usually in this matchup, I would say Rune probably has good odds. But, like, with that double Dragon Sign early game hand with no 2-drop from Teddy, Tempest, I think, is now in the driver's seat, technically.
Yeah, this is a Neptune, very, right? Very clearable.
Do you just...
the top.
Odin face Genesis? Do you ever?
Yeah. I feel like it's actually a very... Because the thing is, right, we've seen 2 Anangreas come down.
And
the
a
thing
Burgeon.
Is, next turn is the Kuon turn. Next turn is the Kuon turn. So you do actually struggle into a ward next turn, right?
That's true.
That's the problem. If it was the other way around, if you were already at 10 play points and you could Genesis this turn and then Odin the next turn, that's a different story. So I think you're assuming the Kuon comes out next turn. So probably, like... The good thing about Neptune is you heal back up to 17 this turn. so you're also getting out of harm's way while setting up a wide board, technically a full board, because you can evolve the Neptune, trade into the 7/7, and then your Orcas trade into the onion patches, and you basically have the rest of the board still alive.
This is the best play covering for Kuon, because it also means that, because Kuon won't be able to full clear this, right? Kuon only super evolves into a 6/6, so the oh, he gets the Kuon off the top.
Actually drew
That's crazy.
I was about to say, he's like, well, we know that there's no Kuon, but I was like, let's wait a second.
Am I in an anime?
If you're not watching SVO, what are you doing? This is we're actually seeing some of the most insane games possible.
Is Eruption the better play here? It's a better clear than Kuon is.
Actually, yeah, it's gonna get you the like you have Stormy Blast for the tall targets, and you have Eruption to cover the wide boards. So I don't see why not. It lets you have a. I can just kind of keep the Kuon for later.
Oh,
I like this too. This
interesting. No, but what I'm afraid of with this play, it does get the ward up, and it does like clear the board while presenting the most threat. I'm worried that without that extra play point, though, you're not going to be able to, you know, go into an early Kakaidos or an early 10 play point Kuon. And if Tempest can stabilize from here, he has 2 whole turns to land storms. It's a little risky, but honestly, it's a pretty interesting read. It's sort of forcing Tempest to have a clear. But with no supers out, Teddy has no out-of-hand damage. So maximum is evolve. Right. Maximum is evolve. Okay, he does just play the Twilight. It's the safer play. But I was thinking if he evolved the Demonic, it would have been 11 damage maximum. So Odin phase was actually technically an option, although that doesn't cover for second Kuon. So no, this is
yeah.
You're
gonna kind of assume they have the second Kuon because also, like, the biggest thing is they committed the Super Evolve. So as you said, this is basically now going to be a game of Kokaitis or nothing, right? In terms of actual damage.
And those climbs are not boosted. They're not boosted. Those are some unboosted climberonis.
It's not too good. And right now, I mean, we're basically 1 damage off lethal here for
Eugenesis face. 100% Eugenesis face. And then next turn, if they Kuon, you cover because you have Odin. This is Genesis face 100%, right? Yeah.
We're back to the situation we talked about earlier where the other way around works, right? So you can Genesis here, and then even if they have the Kuon, you have an answer.
The only risk is Tempest doesn't know the climbs are drawn late. He's covering for Kakaitis climb Silent Rider if he doesn't. Like, no, but Kakaitis climb Silent Rider is lethal either way because he has the evolve point still.
Yeah.
So I think you take the gamble and you just go Genesis face here.
The other thing that wouldn't be too great is that Genesis goes face here 100%. But if we see Norman here, okay, we don't see Norman here, but if we did, setting up double Guardian Golem with Barrier does also out the Odin. Of course, the heal is also very much appreciated there, but it would be able to answer it. Whereas here, Kuon is going to, you know, answer the board, but we know that this Odin is going to be able to answer it. And believe it or not, we are going to see Tempest actually go to the semifinals with Dragons into the lineup.
Just a series of incredibly good reads by Tempest that won him games from unwinnable positions. You can see the 1,000-watt smile on his face, and I would be feeling that way too. An insane run with the mid-range of this Ramp Dragon lineup. I want to say a huge props to Teddy, by the way, because, like, to be clear, this was not Teddy's main game for many, many years. He's coming into this as a newcomer, still made top 8, and, you know, not an easy run of competition going up against Tempest in the first quarters. So I want to say huge props to Teddy, and I hope that we see him again soon in another 100%. SVO qualifier. Congratulations for making it this far. Unfortunately, though, this is a single elimination tournament, so that means that Tempest is going to be the one moving on to take on Life in the semifinals. Now, next up, we have the last two quarters, Meru versus Cloudy and Essia versus Diru. That being said, that's going to be after a short break. You don't want to miss it, so come back here in just 5 minutes, and we'll be back with more Shadowverse action. To address board without spending evolve points, particularly Medusa, so you can afford to use your super evolves more aggressively this way. Not too bad. I wouldn't be super surprised if we see an extra play. That one hem game to address board without spending evolve points, particularly Medusa, so you can afford to use your super evolves more aggressively this way. Not too bad. I wouldn't be super surprised if we see an extra play point into another Shadow Crypt as well, but
that's true. I do feel like that's a pretty good option just because it sets you up for next turn as well. Also, if you do find your
this might already be curtains. Oh, because you can bounce the KR2 for another 0 cost.
Give another 0 cost spell. This is big. So we're currently at combo 3, combo 4.
Okay.
Refund the 3 play points for the carbuncle. This will trade out the ward as well. So now you're essentially, I mean, you can play, this is 5.
You can play
6,
Roach 3 times. Yeah,
7.
this is super lethal. Yeah, with Cairn buff. Yeah.
So this is 18 damage from literally just playing 3 Roach over and over and over again. And Life, it took a little bit to see the Roach, but managed to find it. Triple bounce is all that you need.
Oh, that's way overkill too. Yeah, way overkill. I mean, you might see a turn like that and think that it kind of came out of nowhere. But if you're
out, you might want to have the super evil buff. But
that top deck Serb gets the dub onto the mid-range sword. I think this would have been a different story if Life was able to secure that early game. The second Aragavi from Honor taking out the ambushed Valse like saved him the entire game, because if that didn't happen, it would have been Odin
and Gildarius for the self-evolve from the fanfare
off the rally.
Olivia
right
here looks really good. Yeah.
Oh, and getting a Prim is really interesting. Do you ever evolve Olivia Prim and get the ambush with a 4/4 in the back? Was that an option, or was it just better to present more threat?
Amelia to trade, but this is
Odin. GG.
I mean, yep, that's
lethal.
The Odin
in
off
hand.
the top. That's gonna be huge, and that is gonna
really
be the dub.
Yeah, that's the dub. I was just gonna say, sorry to talk over you there for a second. I just wanted to say that Life really, that's 2 0 cost Bales plus Roach plus Carbuncle Super Evolve.
Yep, Carbuncles. Like this is literally just the textbook example, right? Of
super
just wait it out, and there we go.
In my mind's eye, I already saw this turn. It's tough when the Tempest doesn't have the healing tools. Didn't get into the Olivia, right? And again, the biggest healing tool for mid-range is to win this one, and it might have ended up paying off. Aragami sticks!
Oh my god,
that is massive!
Rage of Serpents for another 3. We're down to 6. Who else is going to come down for board presence?
Is he going to pre-evolve it at this point? I think you do. With this line of play,
you have to, right?
Ash Mummy face is lethal.
That's it. He sees it. I'm so glad. Manages to find it. Get the draw, but it doesn't matter. All we need is the Lesser Mummy with the Super Evolve. The Olivia doing the 1 burn damage from the Super Evolve attacking, and then the 5 to face will tie up the set, and we are going to see the Dragon in top 8. Do we play Dragon?
Oh! Ramp into Odin! I think you have to Phylene here. You don't have a choice.
Do you know why, by the way, he brought, like, why Tempest brought Dragon to this tournament in the first place? Do you know the story?
What's up? Why is it?
It's because he opened a Phylene leader
that won him games from unwinnable positions. You can see the 1,000-watt smile on his face, and I would be feeling that way too. An insane run with the mid-range Abyss Ramp Dragon lineup. I want to say a huge props to Tech.
We play Dragon.
Oh, ramp into Odin!
Welcome back, folks. It is time for the remaining top 8 of the first of the Shadowverse Opens for the 2025 season. We have a bunch more players coming from all walks of life, both veterans of the scene as well as newcomers, and I'm very excited. We are your casters. If you're just coming in, myself, Different Fight, joined by Ignidius. How are you feeling after those first couple of games, man?
I mean, that's right. I mean, those first 2 quarters were absolutely insane. Saw incredible levels of execution from the likes of Life, as well as an insane amount of reads from DV Tempest as well, clutching victory from the jaws of defeat. Now, though, we are on to another 2 quarters. And again, I want to emphasize here, this is a best of 3 event, but it is single elim. And every single match is like minimum $200 money match. So there is a lot on the line. Now, our next matchup is going to be Meru versus Cloudy, 2 pretty new names that I'm unfamiliar with. Can you tell me a little bit about them? Because you said you were able to get some messages in with all the players today.
Yeah, so it's actually really, really nice to have both of them here today, because Meru actually got into SVO thanks to you, which is very nice.
Oh,
so
that's so kind.
Found out about SVO thanks to your videos, and that is really, really sweet. And they also, they play games that both of us make content about, and overall just very excited for their SVO run. This is their first time playing competitive in general. This is their first game
in any game.
Top 8 in their first tournament, which is pretty insane when you think about it.
Prodigy. All right. And what about Cloudy? Any news on Cloudy?
Cloudy's also, this is their first experience with a Shadowverse tournament, which is crazy. They, generally speaking, they play this game the same as a lot of other mobile games, just kind of like playing them in the side here and there. And so being able to make it, just kind of like playing the game as you go into the top 8 of one of the most major tournaments is pretty insane. So both these players are new to the scene, but this could be the beginning of something great, right? This could be the beginning of a new legend for the Shadowverse scene, which I think is going to be very exciting.
I mean, that's what you love to see, like a mix of like the old heads from Classic with new blood coming in, because Worlds Beyond is a new game. That's like exactly the kind of matchup you want to see. And if whoever wins this has to go up against whoever wins in the Essia versus Diru match. So, they, like you said, they could forge their legend right here, right now at the beginning. Let's take a look at the decks that they are bringing. So first up with Meru, we have mid-range Abysscraft. We've been seeing that all day today, so nothing new there. But also the Ward Havencraft, which we kind of lampshaded earlier, is on the rise due to Rs21 winning with it on last week's SVO kickoff. And Meru is actually bringing it into the top 8 here. So once again, like to remind everybody, he had to go through 13 rounds of competition with this lineup.
Yep.
And Wardhaven making it already to the top 8 is no small feat. So following in Rs21's footsteps here with the exact lineup that he used to win last weekend's SVO kickoff.
Yeah, I mean, surprisingly the only Wardhaven in the top 8 today, but still, pulling up in here, had to go through all those players. And this is the exact same lineup, too, that won last week. Are we going to see the 2-peat, right? Is it going to actually happen? So, very excited. But let's take a look at Cloudy's side and what they have in store here as well. We see the mid-range sword come up again, this time with no Urias in the list. So, some changes here and there, but the spell inclusion, I like that a lot. However, Aggro Abyss, this time not mid-range, is also going to be showing up here too. We did see some Aggro Abyss last week as well, and we do have 2 players bringing this deck. They are both in the lower side of the bracket today, so it's going to be interesting to see if we potentially get a matchup between the Aggro Abysses as well.
All right, I want to talk a little bit more about that Aggro Abyss, but the players are already ready, so shall we just get into the games right away and talk about it as it unfolds? It's going to be Meru versus Cloudy. Again, this is the quarterfinals, and these are 2 completely new to competitive players making their first steps into the annals of Shadowverse competitive history. Who is going to be the one to put their name on the map? going into the first game here. Do you think it's a sword v sword? Oh no, a sword v. Oh, of course. Ward into Abysscraft.
Ooh.
I don't know. I think if the
one.
I was gonna say if this was mid-range, I would give it to the Abyss. But with aggro, it's a much harder hill to climb. Like, that's a lot of wards you have to get past just to hit them in the dome. And I was about to say during the deck matchup screen as well, I think aggro Abyss is kind of tough. In the current meta, it does have the ability to out-aggress Roach and Spell Boost Rune, but I would be really worried about taking it into mid-range. Any mid-range deck, really. So I'm a little worried about Cloudy's aggro Abyss chances, but if he can just get a strong start here, then he has 2 shots with mid-range sword, which I think is the best deck in the game in terms of card quality, card for card. So this is a pretty good start, too.
Very good start, and it's like you want to be going first, you want to be having these strong starts, basically force out the early play point. But thing is, you're kind of forcing out the early play point with the aggression, but that means they can't get the extra play point for the Wilbert on turn 5, which is what you want to be doing as Wardhaven normally. So actually asking some good questions here on Cloudy's side.
Yeah, I mean, with no turn 2 play, the problem is, you, as the Wardhaven player, you already have the Wilbert Ether in hand. You want to save the extra play point on turn 5 for Wilbert, right? And into turn 6 for Ether. But with no turn 2 play, facing down a Cultivator and a Barrel from an aggro Abyss, if you don't extra play point out a ward now, you might just lose before you can even get into the Ether turn. That's the concern. So I think you have to extra play point out a 3-drop here.
Yeah, but looks like that's going to be the call. Not putting down the Barrier or the Grimnir, instead putting down the 2-4 to prioritize the stats. I do like it. It does force the double trade, but we do know the Vuela is in hand. But it's quite tricky with the Vuela too, because that kind of answers her as well, because they'd have to Vuela and still combine it with something that can go face this turn. So the arrow come down.
Yeah, I think that's why I like the arrow more, because you do just get the drain to go face as well. I mean, that's the strength of aggro Abyss compared to other aggro decks in the format, is that with the drain, you have sustain that no other aggro deck has. So just having that stick is pretty nice. And again, you saw the extra play point come out, so now you know there is no extra play point into Wilbert on turn 5. So, and they also don't have extra play point into Selefa on turn 4, which is really important, meaning that the aggro player can now make wide boards pretty much uninhibited.
Yeah, that's going to be this so far actually very much in Cloudy's favor. And we're going to see this double trade here and overall just a wide board. And as you said, no Salifa makes this board stick for a turn. This is very huge for Cloudy so far. I mean, we questioned this deck, but so far it's been showing up well, although that is a big pickup with a Divine there.
I was just going to say, yeah, that Divine Thunder might just change the tide of things. With Divine Thunder, the effect is that it destroys the strongest and then deals 1 to the rest. So that leaves only Vuela up, and having, like, reducing the board size also means less powerful Excellas on Cloudy's side. And now you have to be worried about Selefa the turn after, right?
Exactly. I think it's like Exile is not too bad here either. Yeah, I think this is going to be Lilith, Exila, push the damage as much as possible. So this is still going to be providing a good bit of aggression. I mean, 7 damage is nothing to scoff at. Put them down to 6 is basically Odin Evolve for lethal.
I think this game would have gone really differently if Meru had a good turn 2. Like, being forced to extra play point out a 3-drop there, meaning that your Wilbert is delayed. You know, you don't have it, but like your potential Selefa is delayed as well. You know, that actually affects the course of the game a lot. The Cleric of Crushing's effect does not destroy regular evolved followers. It only destroys super evolved followers. So that Excella is alive, and that's just going to be an easy first game pickup for Cloudy there. And now he's got, like I said earlier, he's got 2 shots with the best deck in the game.
This is huge. This is such
strong start.
Strong start, but also, again, a pretty big risk, because normally pairing the Aggro Abyss into two decks where you don't know what your matchup is going to be. You don't know how easy or hard it's going to be either, considering that, you know, you have mid-range Abyss to worry about on the other side. That is a bit of a gamble, but it worked out. And now you have two chances with the sword, which doesn't have as much of an early pop-off. But at the same time, I mean, we know this deck has what it takes to win these matches. And going second with Zirconia in the opening hand, I think this is looking pretty good for Cloudy.
Yeah, we did see earlier that mid-range Abyss can take this, depending on if they have like the Amalia engine in the back end. It depends on if the mid-range Abyss can find their efficient clear tools beforehand. Most importantly, like we discussed earlier, the Aragavi. And right now in Meru's hand, we see 0 gravies. You know, so that's pretty tough, actually.
Yep, and this is pretty big. You have the Saria's not doing as much here, but still putting it down just for board presence is pretty good. You're gonna go face while playing very aggressively here.
I mean, the issue with like Meru playing the Mummy as well is that if that's rezzed off of Charon, that's way less efficient than rezzing a Fildau, for example. So that also kind of pollutes the pool.
That is true. Gauss comes down, pop off, get the 5 damage in. Grimnir just to protect a little bit, but we all know Zirconia's coming in. It's going to be 3 damage to face this turn. That's actually quite big.
Oh, yeah. Zirconia is backbreaking, especially with no gravy in sight.
Yeah, unless...
No dice. I mean, the best clear here is, what, Fildau, Evolve, take out the Zirconia, and the Vols put a Grimnir down. The problem is that that leaves 2/2/2.
Yeah.
We know the second Zirconia is in hand. That's the issue.
Like, getting the Fildau get revived and get the ward applied would have been definitely much nicer. But it is what it is. Zirconia here is going to do a lot of work. This is 6 damage phase.
So tough. You know, I would have even considered trading the 3/3 Knight into the award and then trading the Zirconia into the Fildau as well for an even more efficient clear. You lose 3 damage face, but you leave up a way more threatening board after seeing that they didn't have Aragavi. But
yeah,
in the end, Cloudy went for the more aggressive play. The Charon does res the Fildau. That was a 50-50 chance, actually. That was a huge gamble.
Yeah.
And like if that res the Mummy instead, I think it might have been chopped right then and there.
Is your new favorite word.
Dude, very interestingly, Cloudy is running the Luminous. Like,
yeah, we don't see that very often, which I do quite like. You know, it's only a 1 of 2. So this, of course, whenever you play an officer, gets +1 attack for the turn. And if you evolve it, summons a knight as well. So it's kind of one of those cards you want to put down early, hope it sticks, and then you get to kind of chip in some early damage. So a lot more of a lean towards aggro in this sword. I mean, a lot of leaning towards aggro in Cloudy's entire playstyle and deck choice. But overall, you know, the card choices are also relatively aggressive here.
You know what's interesting too? I do understand why you would run it, right? Like there are matchups where having a more aggressive curve really does just win you the game. It's worse in the mirror, but like if you're able to queue a deck that's built like this against Spell Boost or Roach, I think your chances of winning are actually higher. So it's an interesting amount of deck building, right? Like you're seeing these players who are new to the competitive scene, but they got the smarts to make it work, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And right now we're seeing a very one-sided game thus far. This Odin only removes one thing. You can super evolve it to get a full clear here, because that will let you super evolve, trade into the Grimnir, and then 2 damage to everything off of your own Grimnir's effect. Does get a full clear, so you're not gonna just kind of get taken out by something sticking on the board, super evolving for 4 damage, but you are at the mercy of an Albert or a Tentacles off the top, or an Odin. And there it is!
You really manifested that, my friend.
Odin versus Odin, the final showdown, and just like that, Cloudy takes it in a 2-0 victory over Meru.
Speedrun.
That was fast.
Genuine speedrun. Yeah, I mean, even if it wasn't Odin, right? Like, Albert would have sealed the deal, too. Like, there was a lot of outs, right? Actually, with Meru at 4, even QuickPlater would have done it because he had super unlocked. There's a lot of outs. Yeah, so Cloudy did have that in the bag. Wow, very convincing 2-0. Let's take a look at the bracket and see where we're heading next. Incredibly fast round there. Cloudy taking it over Meru, but I want to give props to both of them. Newcomers to the scene and already making it to a top 8. Brava, frankly, and I hope to see you again in the next SVO qualifier. I'd love to see you continue to forge this legend. But speaking of legends, the next quarterfinals is with 2 established players here. Disastra Essia, World Grand Prix 2018 participant. So he's been at the highest echelons of competition before, as well as Diru from Team Imagine Epic Victory, the teammate of Rs21, who won last week's kickoff. Let's take a look at their deck list before we go into that match, because we want to bring you the action right away. Essia bringing that Spell Boost, Runecraft, and Roach Forestcraft lineup. If you know anything about Essia over the past few years, you would know that he is a Forest main, so absolutely no surprises on this lineup here. And if anybody can navigate it, this execution-heavy deck with finesse, it is him. That being said, I will say not many interesting, like no, what's her name? Limaga at all. So a legendary list, Roach Forest list, very interesting, focusing entirely on the combo. Also in the Spell Boost Rune list, I want to bring up the Flames of Chaos. We saw that technology being put to work in the Extra Championship as well in Hokkaido, right? Just earlier this week. And that's really good against the Swordcraft, so I can see why Essia made it this far.
Yep. And I mean, I love to see it also in Essia's, profile picture, kind of just showing that he's already been in the scene from before, got that lovely Shadowverse Sports picture. But let's take a look at Diru's side. He's got a bit of a different flavor of Shadowverse in his picture that it's going to pop up in just a moment. I'm very excited. There you go. Look at that.
Very cool.
Shadowverse well mentioned. Let's go. But
lots of Shadowverse Wolf crossover.
Dude, I love it. It's great. The whole IP is popping off. It's so good to see. But Diru is playing both the mid-range sword that we've been seeing here and there. Again, this time, without the Urias, we're playing the QuickPlater instead and kind of leaning into it really here. And then the Aggro Abyss. So a pretty similar lineup to Cloudy, actually. It's basically the same, just some difference in cards. But, if Diru gets to advance, we're actually going to see the full mirror match happen that top 4. But then if Essia advances, we do potentially see that matchup between Life and Essia, 2 practice partners. The other thing is that both these players are linked to someone else, either in this bracket or in last week's bracket. So for Diru's side, he actually often playtests together with ours because they are from the same team, IEV, and so that was our winner from last week. So lots of connections. You see just how big the community is for Shadowverse, the competitive scene of it. And it's really cool to see it all kind of come together in just 8 players, right? It's just a top 8. So really love to see it. And, with these 2 lists, I'm curious to see who's going to take it between Essia and Diru.
The players are already ready. They're in the lobby selecting their first deck into this match. What do you think they queue up first? Let's take a look as the players queue in. I wouldn't be surprised to see Essia play Forest first. It is his best deck, his best class over the course of many, many years. On Diru's side, I think, like as usual, mid-range sword got the least polarizing matchups, probably queuing that first. Never mind! Abysscraft into Forest first. Oh, you know what? I do understand this. If Diru understands Essia would bring... I think Abyss actually has the better matchup against both of Essia's lists, because we were talking about this earlier. Aggro Abyss, we didn't see it in Cloudy's set, but, in theory, has a bad, time with mid-range decks, but generally much better against combo decks like Spell Boost and Roach. If the Abyss can just put on the pressure early game, the Roach wouldn't even have the time to pop off with their game plan, and neither would the Rune. And, with this lineup, and this hand is amazing from Diru.
Oh, my God. Are we going to see the same thing happen as the last? Is the lower bracket just Abyss, Aggro Abyss Festival? What's going on?
I will say, you would expect Sword, you would expect Rune, you'd even expect Roach to be the most brought class in the top 8, but it's Abyss. 5 players brought Abyss compared to the second most brought Sword with 4. So Abyss making a huge turnout. Once again, it's a part of that is the R's influence, right? Bringing mid-range Abyss to the forefront.
Yeah. It's very, very big when we get a full clear here. Very important in this stage of this matchup. If you don't get that full clear, things are going to get very ugly with that 3 damage swinging face over and over and over again. But a lot of resources used up in Esia's hand. We have the Roach, which is great. Glade's not doing anything for a while, and Garden's Lure is going to have to draw into something big next turn. Otherwise, we're not really countering this board, are we?
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that Esia was kind of caught in a catch-22 there. If he didn't clear that barrel, the game was pretty much over. But if he did, he's stuck in this situation with no resources. And that's might be the worst draw. No Convocation. A Bug Alert on a single fairy. You're only taking out 1 bat here, max, no matter what you do. That's pretty tough for Esia. And with a hand that can't answer the aggression that Diru addresses next turn, Glade, not an option, right? Because the extra play point already used for that early game ambush. I think the only play is Bug Alert on this fairy and try to use it next turn for another play.
Yep, 100%. I think
this is a Balto for sure.
The 1 fairy is so important. Yep, Balto comes down, gives you the crest. Every turn, both players will take 1 damage. Godwood Staff.
I mean, that Godwood Staff is... It's tough. Like, do you just spend this turn, land, staff, trade fairy, Balto? But if you do that, all they have to do is evolve a follower, go face, and you're in a really tough position. But if you don't establish the Godwood Staff, you have no draw engine outside of that Glade next turn. This is really asking for Glade to hard carry. I mean, you do leave up a 4-3, to be fair.
Yeah. You can't... Like, leaving up the 4-3 makes it so that this isn't just a, all right, let's go face, just play down things that go face and do damage. You actually have to worry about this board a little bit because you are also dealing yourself damage with this crest, so you don't want to get randomly caught. Even if the hand is low, we're seeing this 1 fairy fight for her life being bounced left and right. But right now, you do have to think about, are we going to keep pushing this aggression? Or are we going to dedicate some resources to answer this board a little bit? We have the Lilith. We have... I mean, you can also kind of like go a little bit hybrid mode here. You can do like Lilith Evolve to trade, and then also even cash in the Shadow Crypt to do face damage. But then that also means like you could be cashing in all the face damage here. If you go all in on face, you can have 4 from just what's the stats on the board. Then you're evolving for 6. And then Rage of Serpents for 8 damage. So that's already half of the defense of Esia's side gone. And we see what else they want to cash into here.
My concern is if you go with this play and they Glade next turn, you don't have an answer unless you draw Aragavi. It has to be an Aragavi draw to address this Glade,
right? Going to happen or not? It does.
Oh, actually, however, they could also draw lethal. Right? Like you were saying, that's a lot of damage face.
Because you get the Ghost, right? So the Ghost, you don't have Super Evolve yet. That's the only important point is that...
Yeah, Ghost plus Shadow Crypt Pop is 5. That's 7. That's 1 off.
You're 1 off, yeah. No, wait. Leader. Crest. Isn't that the
Crest! That's lethal. You're so right. Balto, that's enough.
Balto Crest is lethal.
That is exactly 8.
5 Ghosts.
Yep.
5 Ghosts, Evolve, you got it. He sees it.
And very, very efficient lines from Diru here. I mean, this was an advantageous matchup for the Aggro Abyss. Like facing this lineup is exactly what you want to see for Aggro Abyss, right? I think the only question is the sword aggressive enough to be able to pull the same trick? Or is this sword just a... Obviously, it's slower than the Abyss. Will it give the Spell Boost Rune and the Roach enough time to come back, right? And we saw with Cloudy's list, that sword was a lot more aggressive with that one of Luminous Commander as well. But, with this, 2 quick bladers maybe has a shot. It just depends on if you see it on time.
To be fair, Cloudy didn't play quick blader, which is also kind of crazy given their playstyle.
That's true.
Right? So
yeah,
we are going to see if Diru's build does actually answer it. I'm also curious if Essia is going to just stick with the forest here. I feel like knowing Essia, that is likely going to be the case. You have to win with both decks anyway, right?
Oh, he goes into the rune instead. I mean, Sword into Rune is the closest to a 50-50 matchup we have, I think, in the current metagame. And Diru does indeed see the Quick Blader going first. That might be the way forward here. If he didn't see the Quick Blader, it would be very easy for Essia to stabilize with Andangrea and Norman and the Sage Light Teachings that we already see in his opening hand. I think that might be
the respect for the Quick Blader.
That might be world's best Quick Blader.
Dude, also look at the curve all the way up to turn 4. This curve is looking great. This Grimnir is going to be doing some work. It's great. And the thing is that, again, Essia has to keep the extra play point for the turn 4. And this board is getting set up. This damage is going to keep piling up. And now it becomes a question of Diru. Are we just going in on face? You don't get to evolve next turn, even with the Fildo in hand. So, are you going to hope that they don't have the Stormy Blast to take care of the Grimnir? Or do you want to trade this away? Because keeping the Luminous Lance Trooper is quite important. But we're going to go all in on face here.
I think seeing only one stack, going all in on face is the way, right? I mean, the only difference... Let me just double check Essia's rune list real quick. He does not run... He does not run Arcane Eruption. So there's no punish for Diru going face here, I don't think. So that's another instance where the technologies that people are running completely can determine the flow of the game.
Here I think you play the Melby, yeah. The reason why is that next turn, you are going to play point boost into the Anangrea. So there's no reason to push your stacks here because you're not going to Sage Light's Teachings, most likely. I mean, unless something goes horribly wrong. And right now we see the first time where Diru starts to slow down.
Especially with no turn 5 play, right? I think if Diru saw the Magus, he would have just gone all face, I'm not going to lie. But turn 4 pass because he has no turn 5 is a massive, just complete halting of Diru's momentum.
Yeah. 100%. The thing is that you have to keep the Fildo in this hand because you have no other way to answer Anangrea, and if you leave the Anangrea up, then, I mean, that spells the beginning of the end.
Yeah, that spells the beginning of the end?
Whoa.
Interesting. Say that again.
Unintended. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Ooh. Like, the Fildo is the only way. Literally, he had to pass turn 4 just to be able to deal with this. Suddenly, it's not looking so good for Diru. He had the aggressive start, but that completely put him, stopped him in his tracks. And now, turn 5, we have, the easy Stormy Blast to take out the 4/4 Fildo, as well as set up stack for the Norman turn next turn. And you get to play the Stormy Blast and the Sage Light Teachings to heal back to 18.
Oh, that's very big. Man,
or
Diru.
You might need the Sage Light for board clear, right? Depending if they play Magus next turn. So yeah, I think this is the better play. So this covers for Magus next turn.
2-point damage.
Yeah. This covers for Magus next turn while also leaving the opportunity, if they don't Magus, you have at least Norman for the next turn as well. This is really good. This is really good for SEO.
Yeah. This Zirconia is not bad, but right now, Diru is like a horse girl on the racetracks. Really good, strong early start, but gotta recuperate that breath in the middle of the field. Only to start sprinting towards the end of the race.
Shout out to the other side games game, I suppose. While we're here, right?
This is big for Essia though. Double Norman is also pretty massive in this matchup because it gives you healing is so annoying from the sword perspective because your game plan is half is I'm gonna get you down to 12 so that you're quaking in your boots waiting for my Albert to hit the board. And so healing out of that 12 does take away from that, and that means that then you start going into the other mode of Sword, which is, all right, we're going to play the long game. I'm going to use Amalia, Gildaria, and we're essentially just going to grind it out.
But you can't grind out Spell Boost Rune. That's the whole problem. Yes. If you try to grind out Spell Boost Rune, I want to introduce you to a guy named Kakaitis. Pretty cool guy.
It's big.
And yeah, I liked SES's play last turn there, using the Sage Light while still building up stack, letting him go into a Norman this turn for double heal.
Wow, this is really big. I mean, the fact that you got to also save the evolve points for this is also really, really huge, because now you got to cash in the evolve here for the double heal, and you're still keeping your 2 super evolves intact for Kuon twice, which is also nice. That means that so, with the 2 Kuons in hand, you can rely on them as well.
So for people who may not be as familiar with the metagame, Runecraft generally doesn't have out-of-hand damage if they don't have a super evolve. Like, the only way you can threaten out-of-hand lethal is with super evolve or Kakaitis plus 0 cost decline. So just being able to preserve your super evolve into the late game means that Swordcraft always has to be wary of like a Kuon swinging 10, right? Out of hand. And that just puts them into a more awkward position. Also, like, since this Swordcraft wasn't able to rush the spell boost in the early game, like you said, they're going into the grind game mode, and that just doesn't work with the kind of deck that SES is playing. Spell Boost Rune has just a set cap where if they are able to reach a super endgame state, they have enough damage to win the game. That being said, this is quite a hard board to deal with.
I do like the Super Evo on the Steelclad, though, because making a 6-5 here basically means that Kuon only has 1 target it can go into, so you're essentially forcing them to, you know, leave up the Amalia unless you have the Stormy Blast.
Stormy Blast, incredibly valuable there. You're not getting the 4 damage in, but you're not really sweating about that, right? Because you have a boosted, a decline that's getting boosted. You have the spell boost to do it with the Burgeoned in hand as well. And you can use the last damage you deal is like a 20 damage swing if you get the Astaroths as well, or a 10 damage swing with the Kuon. So you're not really sweating about a 4 damage swing there.
Now then, 1 super evolve point left, and Albert in hand. We can
I think it has to be Amalia.
Out of this. Yeah, it does have to be Amalia here.
Yeah, because you're also building Rally for your Gildaria, right?
Yeah, I wonder what rally count we're actually at right now. I haven't been keeping track of as much, but this should be getting pretty close to Gildaria being able to super evolve, and having the Grimnir effect live here is also very big.
I don't think you super though. You can't.
No,
you need super for. You need the super for the Albert swing. Otherwise, you're never gonna kill. Like if you do incremental damage against Rune, they'll just heal it back up. You have to do the burst, right?
Yeah. Like we've seen the one Norman, but there's still more to come. The 3rd Kuon has been picked up, and we are at rally 19.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Very much.
That's pretty good. So you can. I think Witch's Brew to get a draw first. See what you get. Then, actually, this is not as easy as it would first appear. If you you can't spend the super, right? That's the issue.
Yeah, you can't spend the super, and the other problem is that you can't like play point boost into 10 to play the Kuon here either, because you want to be getting into but yeah.
No, you can't leave Amalia up.
Yeah, you can't leave Amalia up. Ooh. That's a pickup. Wait, this is pretty good because you can actually get 4 damage AoE, and then the Burgeant gives you the 2 patches for 2 more damage into the Amalia.
Yeah, that is the play. It's also
that was that's a huge pickup actually. This is a very clean turn.
Yeah, that is incredible. Like if he didn't get that, he would have been forced to spend the super, I think, and then he would have no lethal. Yeah. I mean, he would have no winning line. So yeah, that's huge.
100%. I like this ambush. This is overall quite good. This also is a world where you could technically prevent them from having an attack target for the Kuon's 1 damage that would happen.
Yeah.
From attacking.
True. And also, like, if you don't have perfect information, you also prevent them from getting a super evolved target for Kakaitis after an Astaroth, right? So
yeah,
that prevents an OTK.
I think for Essia though, it's worth to do the Kuon regardless here because I mean you basically have an empty board. You don't have the AoE from William. I think William isn't even being played. Oh, there's a one of William in this list. Never mind.
Well, see, my issue with this line of play from Diru is that even if he Albert supers next turn, it's one-off lethal, so this doesn't set up for a win next turn either, is the issue on Diru's side.
That's a good point. Are we going to just climb here?
Climb Kuon is 17 damage? Oh, he got the Divine Thunder!
Oh, that's so big.
That is massive.
Trying to hit off of the homework first, but that was so big. And in gray as well, setting up this very wide board. You don't have to worry about really cashing in the damage here. You're just passing on this huge board of threats.
That was a really good climb. I think that covers for all outs.
Essentially, I think Essia is going to be able to take us to game 3 here. Gildaria is basically all you got to do to try and answer, but even then, you're going to have to rely.
No, this does clear, because the Nonya gets rushed, right?
Rim.
It's an officer.
Yeah. You're so right. And you do get the... I mean, technically there's a 2 damage AoE as well from the Grimnir effect too.
So you don't even have to Nonya here. You just play Zirconia. Yeah. And this is fine.
Okay, now we're back at square... Not really at square one, but for Essia... Ooh, that top card was very important. This foresight is going to be also very important because right now we don't have too much top end. Ooh, this is just Anna kind of like trading.
You know, it's interesting. I wonder if with the benefit of hindsight, was that climb the right play? Because you do take out the Vols, but you also throw away that Kuon that you were saving in your hand. And now you have no late game.
This just shows how much of a power card Gildaria is. Like, Sword was not able to for these boards in set 1 meta. Gildaria makes that possible, and Grimnir as well.
I also want to say it just goes to show how even this matchup is, right? Like most people agree, this is basically a 50-50.
Yeah, this is quite unfortunate. I mean, having to put your last Super Evolve into the Anangrea when optimally you would have wanted it to be the 10 damage off the Kuon last turn is not great. But
and now you have there's no gas in Essia's hand, unfortunately. That's the distressing part, right? Like,
ooh, this is also kind of an interesting situation where you can technically Odin, get rid of the Anangrea, and then Vals for 3 to get rid of the 5/1 ward summoning, and then Odin can go face, and now you set up for an Albert Super Evolve lethal next turn.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Except that we know that there's healing in the hand, so it's not, but close enough.
Or you set up the... Okay, just checking. Essia's list, only 1 Divine Thunder. Is it worth to set up the ambush walls? That being said, they do play 2 Flames of Chaos. So,
yeah,
it's also a gamble.
So if they drew that off of the climb, then it's pretty charged up. Yeah, I think looks like they might be going for it.
I think the Vols is the right play. Oh, interesting.
Ooh,
oh, and yeah, just not trading. What does that cover for? You set up a Bane. This covers for Kuon off top, right? Getting the Bane so that you can super evolve into the 10/10.
Yes. But I feel like the Vals... Yeah, I guess... I'm not sure how much I value this ambush over the Vals to go face and then force the heal to come in for the Albert to not have lethal, because right now, like, that would have otherwise been an Albert lethal, and they would have lost the Sage Light Teachings, which then also turns off the AoE damage they could have potentially had. So...
yeah, I think
I'm sure about that choice.
This is like the opposite of the Tempest set, where Tempest was making the most amazing reads of all time. Now they're playing the most safe you could possibly play, not trying to let go of this of this semi-final slot for their life, right? That's the entire point here.
Yeah, both these players want to advance. This is, of course, the SVO season has just begun, but being able to find a dub this early is also going to cement you as one of the GOATs of the scene. And right now, we're just seeing a very wide development from Diru.
I'm worried if Diru overcommits. I like it. I like the restraint. Not playing the second Prim, knowing that Sage Light was an option, holding it back. So, like, forcing Essia to use clear on not all of Diru's resources so that Diru can... Oh, and the Amelia pickup is insane!
That's so big.
It's Gildaria, but you don't waste it yet. You don't use it yet, surely, right? You have to use the Gildaria if they top Kuon. You have to save it for that situation. I think you just land another Nanya. Yeah.
Yep. Prim Nanya, even the Saria feels like she is good with Gildaria together because it gets you 2 extra damage for any potentially tall followers.
I suppose, yeah.
But I also don't mind just putting it down here. And it's like, well, if they don't have a way to answer it, then, well, too bad. Ooh, and even committing the barrier, knowing that really hurts this matchup.
Well, the good news about the barrier is that it covers for William, it covers for Divine Thunder, it covers for Flames of Chaos. I think this is the best play. I think Diru knowing, once again, y'all, this is a open deck list tournament. So knowing the answers in Essia's deck list, this play does cover the best defensively.
The Demonic Call is going to have to be cashed in here, but the problem with it is that the barriers are going to prevent the first damage. So 2 cards just to take out 1. Ooh,
and that's it's over.
Remaining,
yep.
This is it. Exactly 16 damage in hand with the Albert coming in.
That's just an unfortunate situation of a dimension climb. Not getting second climb, first of all, very important because it boosts 5. And also only getting defensive tools and none of the proactive tools, so Essia was able to be grinded out by mid-range sword. I mean, you saw how close that game was, too. It really just came down to the wire. That is really a 50-50 matchup most of the time, IMO. And, like, yeah, just insanely well piloted by both players. They took the safest route just to secure the win, and honestly, I have to respect it, because once again, single elimination, if you're out, right? And they're trying to win this entire thing to get into that grand finals. I mean, incredibly well piloted by Diru there, I have to say.
Yeah.
But, you know, both players just showing, like, a very high caliber of play. I think, like, with the hindsight, maybe you didn't climb there and you just left the vaults up. Was that the answer to that line?
Yeah, it really goes that far back, too. Like, that's just kind of how it is with playing Spell Boost, right? And, I mean, I'm afraid that's both the give and take part of the deck, right? With those kind of choices in the moment, right? We even said that it looked so good. It looked so good in the moment. It looked like a very powerful play. But at the end, the Gildaria just answered it immediately. And that's all that really happened. So we do have our top 4 set in stone. And this is going to be a very, very exciting one as well, because we're going to have Life versus Tempest. And we also have Cloudy versus Diru set in again. We mentioned this earlier, but Cloudy and Diru have the exact same lineup, and that's going to be really cool to see.
Yeah, we're super excited to take a look at that. But guys, that is it for our first quarter finals, and I believe we are going to take a short break before semis, just a quick 5 minutes. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned to the stream. Stay locked up. Stay hydrated, and we'll be back very soon with some more Shadowverse action. Followers.
Yeah.
It only destroys super evolved followers, so that Excella is alive, and that's just going to be an easy first game pickup for Cloudy there. And now he's got, like I said earlier, he's got 2 shots with the best deck in the game.
This is huge. This is such
strong start.
Strong start, but also, again, we all know Zirconia's coming in. It's going to be 3 damage to face this turn. That's actually quite big.
Oh, yeah. Zirconia is back-breaking, especially with no gravy in sight.
Like, getting the filled out, get revived, and get the ward applied would have been definitely much nicer. But It is what it is. Zirconia here is going to do a lot of work. This is 6 damage phase. Everything off of your own Grimnir's effect. Does get a full clear, so you're not going to just kind of get taken out by something sticking on the board, super evolving for 4 damage. But you are at the mercy of an Albert or a Tentacles off the top, or an Odin. And there it is!
You really manifested that, my friend.
Odin versus Odin, the final showdown, and just like that, 100%. I think
this is a Balto for sure.
The one fairy is so important. Yep. Balto comes down.
It's lethal. You're so right. Balto, that's enough.
Balto Crest is lethal.
That is we have exactly 8.
5 ghosts.
Yep.
5 ghosts, evolve, you got it. He sees it.
And very efficient lines from Diru here. I mean, this was an advantageous matchup for the Aggro Abyss. Like facing this lineup is exactly what you want to see for Aggro Abyss, right? I think the only question is the sword aggressive enough to be able to pull the same trick? Or is this sword just a super endgame state? They have enough damage to win the game. That being said, this is quite a hard board to deal with.
I do like the Super Evo on the Steelclad though, because making a 6-5 here basically means that Kuon only has 1 target it can go into, so you're essentially forcing them to, you know, leave up the Amalia unless you have the Stormy Blast.
Stormy Blast, incredibly valuable there. You're not getting the 4 damage in, but you're not really sweating about that, right?
Kuon is super high roll.
Climb Kuon is 17 damage. Oh, he got the Divine Thunder!
Oh, that's so big.
That is massive.
Like trying to hit off of the homework first, but that was so big. And in gray as well, setting up this very wide board. You don't have to worry about. I mean, technically, there's a 2 damage AOE as well from the Grimnir effect too.
So you don't even have to Nunya here. You just play Zirconia. Yeah. And this is fine.
Okay, now we're back at square. Not really at square one, but for Essia, all followers,
I suppose. Yeah.
But I also don't mind just putting it down here. And it's like, well, if they don't have a way to answer it, then, well, too bad. Ooh, and even committing the barrier, knowing that really hurts this matchup.
Well, the good news about the barrier is that it...
Demonic Call is going to have to be cashed in here, but the problem with it is that the barriers are going to prevent the first damage. So 2 cards just to take out 1. Ooh,
and that's it's over.
Remaining.
Yep.
This is it. Exactly 16 damage in hand with the Albert coming
lethal in. That's just an unfortunate situation of a dimension climb. Not getting second climb, first of all, very important because it boosts 5. And also...
Peace is a fragile thing, all too easily shattered and devoured with ravenous glee. So avert not your eyes. Stay ever vigilant, for new threats are ever lurking. Even should the world freeze over and time stand still, you must heed the call. You must awaken the infinite potential that slumbers within. Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. Infinity Evolved. Gaze upon a new infinity.
It begins with a single shot. In this new world, everyone is a combatant. every place is a battlefield. Lands will crumble. People will suffer. And skies will shatter. Amid great evil, a light of hope shines ever bright. Shadowverse, worlds beyond, legends rise.
And now, the world lies within your grasp. So, won't you take my hand?
Peace is a fragile thing, all too easily shattered and devoured with ravenous glee. So avert not your eyes. Stay ever vigilant, for new threats are ever lurking. Even should the world freeze over and time stand still, you must heed the call. You must awaken the infinite potential that slumbers within. Shadowverse, worlds beyond. Infinity evolved. Gaze upon a new infinity.
It begins with a single shot. In this new world, everyone is a combatant. And every place is a battlefield. Lands will crumble. People will suffer. And skies will shatter. But amid great evil, a light of hope shines ever bright. Shadowverse, worlds beyond, legends rise.
And now, the world lies within your grasp. So, won't you take my hand?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Shadowverse Open 2025 Qualifier 1 Finals. We just got done with the 4 quarterfinals and now moving on into semis. That means it is the top 4 players who are competing for that slot in the SVO Grand Finals. Just to be clear, this is the win and in. If you win this round, you get a slot into the SVO Grand Finals. So, you know, the final round is nice for that little bit of extra money, but for my opinion, I think this might be the most important stage of the tournament. This determines whether you move on to SVO Grands. So let's just go right into it, shall we? Our first semis here is going to be Life versus Tempest, 2 very veteran players. If you're curious what their deck lists are, go check it out over on the quarterfinals, but we respect your time here, so we'll just go straight into the games and just give you a quick reminder. Life is playing Roach Forest mid-range sword, and Tempest is playing Mid-range Abyss and Ramp Dragon. Can Ramp Dragon make it all the way? That is the big question of the day. It's going to be a tough uphill battle, though, considering that Life, one of the strongest tournament grinders, ladder grinders too, been playing since Shadowverse Classic. That being said, Tempest no slouch himself.
Yeah, this is going to be a big one. I think Tempest might be the crowd favorite just because of the deck lineup. I wouldn't be too surprised. Dragon is definitely not the most common deck, but I think the players are ready, and we're starting with the Dragon this time around into the forest.
Hey, people love an underdog, and you know, I will say we've seen from the past couple of sets just how mid-range for Abyss into forest goes. So I understand why Tempest would bring the Dragon first. That being said, this Ramp Dragon, not a lot of aggression in the early game. So I do worry that you're just not going to be able to put on the pressure against Roach, and then you eventually just fold to an OTK combo. You also don't have like the sheer amount of wards that Ward Haven does as well. Like, so I don't know. I think it's going to be tough. I think what matters is getting the aggression, which is why I agree with Tempest keeping the Forte in the mulligan here. But no early game plays other than that is kind of tough.
No ramps either. I mean, we saw the reason why this... I mean, one of the big reasons why this deck won the previous time we saw it on stream was the double ramp early. Would like to see that if possible, because right now we're just looking into a turn 3 Grimnir. Turn 4, not much.
Turn 4, literally nothing, yeah. And then, oh, that is tough. I think the Grimnir has to come out. But your turn 4 play is looking really weak. With no evolve means that Liu Feng is a 4 play point understated 3/3 with no other effect. That is quite unfortunate, right? And, you know, you go into a turn 5 Merman, turn 6 Forte, but they're already establishing so much by that point if you pass turn 4 like that. I'm a little worried about it, right? Liu Feng also is incredibly vulnerable to Mei. Like, just a 1 play point card can clear your 4 play point card, and you do nothing that turn is incredibly bad. I don't know. I'm a little worried.
Here, though, the one thing to point out was that this would normally be the Godwood turn, right? So forcing the Godwood to get kind of delayed by a turn isn't exactly the worst. And you do, well, this isn't too bad now, right? Golden Note to get you to the 2 draw, Strike to take out the 2/2 if you want to burn it there, but definitely draw first, gamers. I think you do want to see what you find.
I think that Golden Note does salvage this, but I wonder if you drop the Liu Feng anyway to delay the... No, because it doesn't delay Godwood Staff anymore, right? With the 2/2 and a fairy in hand. So I think the Golden Note is the only play here. And you want to be able to Liu Feng into Overflow soon in case you top Odin or Neptune, right? So I think this is definitely Liu Feng Evolve.
Yeah, if you're Tempest, I think this is actually not too bad. You've been actually barely getting by the luck of the draw here, because this gave you Overflow for next turn. This also means that you can get the free evolve on the Liu Feng potentially, which is also very nice. And then, I mean, you're basically just like ramping up. You could technically cash in 2 Fortes across 2 turns. The only issue is that happens on 7 and 8 play points, and then you have this like gap between that and Genesis Dragon. So potentially we do try to just answer the board next turn, and then we start going for the Storm game plan.
Yeah, you could also answer the board while ramping, right? You just Liu Feng, it goes to a 5/5 into the Lily.
Yeah.
And then you can Grimnir evolve after that. You go up to 9 for next turn.
Yeah,
other option is... And yeah, the earlier you get these Liu Fangs out, the better. The only problem is that you are not dealing with one of the fairies, and your 9 is not great. Like...
The Strike is also awkward being 4 damage with the Lily at 5 defense.
Yeah, true.
So it's like Forte Strike would have been cool if it wasn't for the Lily.
Do you just Forte anyway? No, it gets too... Like, seeing a Lily out, Forte would force Glade, I suppose, but still not worth it, I don't think. not leaving this much up on board. I think you have to leave Fang. Can you? Is there a Merman play? No, there's nothing that curves well with Merman this turn either. He is just gonna go for Forte face. Again, this does get hard punished by Glade. Life doesn't have the Glade in hand though.
Yeah, the other thing is that Limaga, okay. That
extra play point Limaga just to deal with Forte is kind of interesting. No, I think you just I think you Lily face Bug Alert, right?
I do feel like that is the play. The other thing is that I'm assuming is that Tempest is hoping to find the Odin because that would allow you to go Forte Odin for game. They do play 3.
Yeah, Lily Bug Alert as expected. Into Fairy Lily once more. Evolved Lily again. Gets you another draw.
Also pushing your Bale down a little bit, which is also quite important in this matchup because that gives you an answer into the Forte. You have to start thinking like, what if you have Forte again next turn? How are you gonna answer that?
Straw's Glade.
There's Glade. That's an answer.
Glade does answer second Forte, and this also once again leaves up a 3/5 that's not the easiest for Tempest to address.
Mm-hmm.
Do you just Forte face and ignore this board again? I'm not even joking. It's the crazy thing.
No, 100% because they've essentially board locked themselves given there's no bounce in the hand, right? So that is a very big if. And no, you do have a bounce. Sorry, the staff is literally on the board. What am I saying?
No, but if you spend the staff, that means that you're not
pretty
using
bad.
it for Roach. Yeah. But the funny thing is, if you do go for a board lock play, you cannot super evolve the Forte because otherwise the Grimnir effect will clear the board. Which is kind of an insane...
you're so right.
That's kind of an insane interaction, now that I think about it.
That is a sentence that has been said.
This is very interesting.
Yeah, for life, this is kind of... I mean, for life, this is kind of okay. It's more so for...
What you could do also is try not to board lock and just full clear instead. Right? Use the strike into the Lily.
Clear. Maybe we're thinking like 2 40 chests out here. It's like leaving on the board. It's like I'm trying to board clear, but here it's basically like you actually have Garyu lethal next turn, right? If there's no heal.
I was just gonna say, yeah, if they don't heal. I don't think they have a heal. They didn't see Cairn.
Yeah, and that's a big one to be missing. Yeah, Garyu, I think potentially lethal, and if you can buy another turn, Genesis is also in hand.
What's very interesting is that Tempest scrapped together a turn 1 to 5 curve off the top deck to get to this position, and
that's the crazy part.
Yeah, that is the crazy part, right? Even
let's see. I mean,
what life has to do is answer this without putting up a threat that gets traded by Garyu, but that loses to Forte or Odin anyway. So I don't think there's... I think the dragon just takes this.
Yeah, this is actually going to be just a game 1 dragon win. It actually just works out. Garyu Super Evolve gives you exactly 5 damage.
Watching Tempest does it again. Watching this run is insane. This is I'm losing my mind right now. And it's goodness gracious. This is some of the most exciting Shadowverse top 8 I've casted in a long time. And like you said, this is the first tournament in the SVO Qualifier series. So seeing the lineup like Tempest go this far is exhilarating.
It's wild because the other crazy thing is that last week we had the very unexpected lineup of Haven midrange Abyss that kind of took the whole tournament by storm. Now it almost feels like the craziest lineup of the tournament seems to have something going for itself, and Tempest seems to be taking that in stride right now.
And you know, this all came down to extra play point Aragavi betting on no turn 5 Anangrea. That might have been, there was like a branching timeline at that point, you know?
Oh yeah.
And we could have been living in that other timeline just as easily.
The other crazy thing is that now in this matchup, we have the Aragavi in the opening hand, and that's going to be so big into the sword matchup. Ooh, I mean, 2 turns of nothing is not so big.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. I mean, at least you got the Vuela this turn. It's not the worst thing in the world. Passing 2 is unfortunate, but this is not unrecoverable. Also, if you're really worried about them establishing a board of Zirconia, you could technically Shadow Crypt, pop, and double trade. That does cover the most clear. And it also like delays the game into your mid to late where you as mid-range abyss really shine. So that actually is an option. And save the Vuela for the next turn. Their turn 3 is usually weak, like Rosé, and Vuela trades over that. That being said, he's just gonna go for the value.
Yeah, we know the turn 3 is Grimnir, and that actually works out better in Tempest's favor. Because this is now gonna be actually a full clear with the Shadow Crypt here, because it gets you the 2/1/1s that essentially are just going to give you, again, 2/2 goes into 2/3, 1/1 goes into the remaining 1 defense, and then you trade up a quick later and you're done.
That was once again a risky call on Tempest's side, though. If the Rosé was in hand, that was a free trade for life, leaving up a 3/2. Like, because Rosé's strike effect, right? Taking out a follower that's already damaged for free.
Yeah.
Like that was yet another call by Tempest. Kind of crazy.
We've been getting these calls very right today, which is insane to see. Like, actually, huge gambles, huge 50-50s, but he's made it this far because of that.
Yeah, man. That is... it's honestly... It's like watching a drama right now. I feel like I'm not even working. This is like, I would have been watching this anyway.
Get the popcorn, sit down, kick back, relax. We're in for a show.
Yeah, man.
I like the hesitation here to play point boost, because play point boosting into Amelia is also very, very good. And this does get answered by Aragavi evolving. And so to try to counter that, considering the evolve, and I think that is very important, because at least this will keep you with something on the board after Aragavi.
So for people who might not be aware, because I'm aware that, you know, some people are new to the game, when a card says split damage, it always takes a by health total oldest follower first. So Life specifically evolving the second Steelclad is incredibly heads up, because that means 3 damage goes into Luminous Mages, 2 into Steelclad, 2 into the 4/2, right? And that means that if Aragavi evolves, you have to leave 1 body up. That's the kind of mechanics knowledge you need to operate at this level of gameplay, right? And that's what you love to see.
Yep.
And this is why watching tournaments like this is really important for new players to learn how to play optimally as well.
Yeah, it's absolutely the case. And it's like very small things, you know. It might appear to you that it's just one of the 3 at random being evolved here, but it is very much with a purpose. And now Tempest is stuck in a bit of a hard place, because initially Aragavi here was a very obvious play, and it's still gonna be the play, but it's nowhere near as advantageous as it would have been without that evolve.
And you know, we saw this on the first set that Life played too. He's really good at making the optimal play for the opponent. It's still the play you have to make, but he minimizes the advantage you gain, right? We saw that with the Nonya into Zirconia evolve from his first set as well. Like, it's still the play you're forced to make. It's the best play, but he makes it so that that best play is not even that good.
Yeah. This hand, though, 5 play points, being like, Quick Blader answers this 6/1. That's awesome. But then you don't do anything else that turn. So here it's like, do you Albert to face and lose your ward to trade? It's not necessarily bad. You could even evolve and push down to 9 defense, which does put them in a pretty big risk factor, although it doesn't really put you anywhere near a lethal range, because regular Super Evolve Albert is only going to be 6 damage, so unless they ping themselves again, you're not going to be getting to that lethal point just yet. It looks like this is going to be the case. Ooh, going face! Wow.
I like this. double face threatens lethal next turn. Because Albert plus Quick Blader into Super Roll is
you're so
7
right.
damage. I think this is correct.
Line, I like it.
And there's no healing available to Tempest before turn 7. The earliest heal is Olivia. So this is guaranteed GG. I think life has checkmated
no
Tempest
healing.
here.
No healing and also no lethal damage on this
that's not
board
true.
with this many play points in his hand.
It's not a checkmate, right? Because Charon can put up 2 wards. That being said, I don't think we saw Fildau sacked, so there's no way to clear this 5/7. I think it might have been checkmate out of the way.
I think so. I'm pretty sure we are indeed lacking a Fildau to revive here.
Yeah, no Phil. No Dr. Phil.
No Dr. Phil indeed. This is going to be looking to be a game 3 at long last. Letting Zombie just evolves for the trade. And you'll barely get the Albert off the board here, but being forced to trade. And this is exactly 7 damage in the hand of life. We're going to a game 3 as it is time to see who's going to take it between these 2 players' final decks in the lineup. It's going to be that mid-range Abyss versus the Roach. This is going to be a big one.
It's always so impressive to me watching life play. It's like, maybe it's not flashy, but it's like minimum movement required to secure the win, like with the most certainty. It's inspiring, honestly. Like just the exacting lines that life runs to put the opponent in the most uncomfortable position possible is kind of amazing.
100%. And now this is going to be an interesting one. For Tempest, needs to win this game to lock in that spot at not just the SVO finals, but also, of course, take Dragon to the finals. Something that I'm sure all the Dragon mains are praying to see here. On the other hand, for life, this is also the same stakes. You win and you're in the grand finals. You're in the finals of this SVO and also at the end of October. But this is a big wall to get over as both players back against the wall. It's do or die.
If I'm Tempest, I kind of wish I had another 2-drop. Because the most aggressive play against Roach with this build would have been extra play point 2-drop into Soiree Skeleton into Zombie. He got it.
And there you go. And there you have it.
That might have been the best one too, because this only gets answered by Convocation. I think that Orthrus might have been the best possible draw.
As you see it, it's always tempting to keep the extra play point for the Argavi. So got to make sure you don't tunnel into that. But there's nothing, not in this matchup, right?
It's not Sword, So yeah. And against Roach, we know you have to be aggressive. Otherwise they just kill you. The good thing about Roach is that there's not that much healing, and the healing that they do have is tied to their lethal. So, either your damage is permanent or they're kneecapping their OTK potential. I think extra play pointing out the Orthrus is the right play. But I will say it's good to not succumb to temptation and do use your full turn timer to actually think things through, especially when the stakes are this high. Need I remind you, this is the win and in for the SVO Grand Finals. If they win, they are into the tournament in October, which qualifies them to Worlds. So this is the most important round of the day. So take all the time you need, gentlemen, to figure out the optimal line.
Yeah, now you're split for choice on which 2-drop you want to prioritize as well. Whether you trade or go face, because the Carbuncle, just the Carbuncle on the board itself is kind of fine. You can just get away with pushing that into the face. Soiree is nice for getting all of the resources into your hand, but you are going to be putting down less stats on the board. And then you do have Apollo for next turn, which is also typically nice into Forest, especially if they try to play more aggressively with the fairies, which we don't see as much in this set's format compared to the previous. And looks like it's going to be the Soiree with the skeleton.
I think the Soiree was the safest play. Because, like, if you don't... Like, you either get the stats up front or on turn 3. And playing Soiree early just makes your later turns way more flexible because you secure the next turn play. So like if you didn't play Soiree here and you played Orthrus, you have to play Apollo next turn, which is less stats.
Yeah.
This way you get the zombie next turn and then you save the Apollo for when you need it. I think this is fine, and you also get the Ghost in the back for either a trade potential or just going phase. I think the Soiree was correct. But that being said, it is heads up for Tempest to like actually take the time to think every turn through like this. So, and Life is doing the same, and he has to worry because if he does just land Godwood Staff, you do just like get aggroed down. I think you have to Convoke, otherwise you do just lose. It's very tempting, it's very tempting as the Roche player to land the Godwood Staff as early as possible, but. If you're setting up for a combo turn that'll never come, then you've done the entire game doing nothing. You have to make sure you live first.
100%.
Yeah.
This does make it a little bit awkward for Tempest as well, because now the Rotting Zombie isn't as insane as it would have been just played off on the previous board. Now it's like, can you afford to ignore the Mei knowing that she could be bounced and then reused for a loss of damage, right? Bug Alert could be in the hand, so if Bug Alert is in there, we could swing with the Mei, Bug Alert, get rid of the zombie, and then you're kind of like a sitting duck, right?
Yeah, Bug Alert would be the worst case scenario. That being said, like you could Orthrus Ghost trade Mei, but I think the problem with the Rotting Zombie is that as a 3 cost, it's way less flexible into your curves late game than your 2-drops are. And like Ghost and Orthrus both have utility into like a turn 8, turn 10, like alongside Cerberus, for example, right? So I think like the earlier you get the zombie out of your hand, the better. This also does force Bug Alert if Life has it, and if he doesn't have it, like guaranteed information is that Tempest saw Convocation played, so he knows it's a fairy in hand. And like, so if Life wants to get the Godwood Staff this turn, it would have to be everything trades if there's no Bug Alert in hand, right? That's also just like kind of bad. That being said, Mei face, Carbuncle, bounce Mei, fairy Mei, but you still have to trade the Carbuncle in.
Yeah,
I think
you still keep up the respawn zombie.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
not great.
Yeah, just
take care of one layer.
And this is why you save your Apollo.
This is why you save your Apollo. Apollo's huge in this instance, being able to answer everything, including the second one as well. That's going to come in pretty handy. That's very also nice. 2 Carbuncles down, which is very big data for this game, because having 2 Carbuncles be seen, you kind of expect them to not have the third, although given that they played them out, they might, right? They could have played it out of desperation, but is a very big combo piece for this deck, not just because of the balance, but because it refunds 3 play points when you super evolve it.
I wonder if you play the Ghost here, because you're presenting 6 stats. I think it's almost guaranteed the next drop that Life plays is Glade. So you have to Aragavi in response. So I wonder if you just play the Ghost now, because you're not going to find a better turn to play it, right? Because if you Ghost now, Gravy turn 5, turn 6, extra play point into either Odin or Medusa, you're never finding the opportunity to play the Ghost. So I wonder. That might have been a consideration. But also, like I said earlier, the Ghost can pair well with Cerberus, so that might be the thought there as well. I think this was extremely expected. Like, Tempest must have known this was happening. So, Gravy
looking at the hand count,
surely,
it's like exactly drawn into 6, do exactly 6 damage. That being said, Godwood Staff is still not on the board, which does make the coming turns a little bit more awkward, because you have to sacrifice those 3 play points to play something that is effectively just drawing you a card that specific turn. So I'm curious to see how Tempest is going to come back in this turn. I do feel like Aragavi is not the worst, because it does give you the clear, and again, Aragavi is not that strong in this matchup to begin with, so if it can give you a clear without committing an evolve point, that could be worth it.
Yeah, I agree, but do you evolve it? I don't think so, but maybe. You have Rage of Serpents, a Ghost, and Odin in hand. Aragavi represents 3 damage.
3 burn.
Like, the problem is that, like, you're obviously making the Roach have to do less work, but, like, you can't, like, as the mid-range Abyss deck, you cannot go into your control mode in this matchup. You'll just lose. So you need to, I wonder if you need to step on the gas.
Let's see if they do. This is going to be the damage. And the Evolve comes in.
There it is.
Pushing the extra damage. 13 and 12 on the life totals. Now for next turn, I mean, Odin can be essentially play point boosted into, and then after that, you are basically in lethal range, right? The Rage of Serpents plus a Super Evolved Ghost is already going to be 7 damage on its own. Odin Super Evolved is 7 damage. If there's no heals, that's going to be lethal. Godwood Staff comes out.
Yeah, that is the best line for life there for sure.
It's like the least effort for the maximum return. And the Bugler picked up is also very huge, even without the Roach in hand. Argavi comes back. The Odin feels really nice here just because of the fact that it gives you the clear. You could theoretically get rid of the amulet too, but I think here you have to prioritize the body because you are pretty low on life yourself. And with 7 play points, that is enough for, 9 damage off of a Roach to potentially come out. Although with no 0-cost cards in hand, that is a different question. So,
no, but he doesn't know there's no Bales, right? That's the issue. Like,
yeah, that's true.
So I feel like you're right. I think the body has to go. Tempest doesn't know there's no Bales in hand. Because if there's even one Bale, I think it's lethal. No?
Yeah.
0. It's close either way. I think the body has to go. Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
This is again a pretty, not so much like big reads from Tempest this game, but kind of assuming that it's like, hey, I haven't seen you put down any ways to heal. We haven't seen the Lambent come down, so I know you're not going to have a Deepwood Bounty either. So I'm going to just assume that if you can't heal this, I have Ghost plus Rage in order to win next turn. Do you have an answer? If you don't, I'm going to finals, and you're going to have to keep on trying and get back to the drawing board with the next SVO.
And Ghost plus Rage is super lethal. I don't think there's an out for life at this stage in the game. This turn or next turn was pretty do or die. And with no Roach and no zeros, it's really unfortunate.
So,
but I think Tempest just had the better hand quality this whole game.
The thing is that even if you had one Deepwood Bounty, it only heals you to 7. Ghost plus Rage is 7 on the dot. So you would have had to be able to heal 2 in order to get out of it. And you can't even risk a Lily draw into it or something. Even that's not enough. All you can do is answer this board and pray there's no lethal damage. But we know that Tempest has the damage in hand. And we know that Tempest is gonna go to the finals. And Tempest is gonna bring the dragon all the way to the top and lock in that qualification to the SVO Grand Finals in October. Congratulations, Tempest. 2-1 over life in a very close nail-biter of a matchup.
Master class of how to play this game. Just really strong turns from both players every stage of the way. And I gotta say, did anybody predict Dragoncraft making it to finals in this tournament? I don't think so. And I love to see an underdog take the story. That being said, Life and Tempest, both incredibly storied players. I think that was a finals-worthy matchup in and of itself. And now, let's take a look at the bracket real quick. Tempest is sitting pretty at that final slot. Once again, to remind y'all, it's already locked in. He has a slot into SVO Grand Finals with a Dragon Abyss lineup. Now, who is going to stand alongside him in October? Is it going to be Cloudy or is it going to be IEV Diru? While the top bracket was a battle of the GOATs, this bottom one is a different story. A new name, new to competitive, Cloudy versus Diru, the teammate of last weekend's champion. This one is going to be a real big story to watch out for. Is it going to be the old guard that takes it or the new blood that came along with Worlds Beyond? I mean, I'm super excited to find out, right?
Yeah, me too. And it's also a full mirror. Both players are on mid-range sword versus aggro abyss. It's going to be a big one. Also, we saw, Cloudy was playing so aggressive, right? And both players had very aggressive games in general, but I was in particular really impressed with Cloudy because, seeing them come into this tournament, for the first time and be able to put on such a spectacular set of games was very, very impressive. So I'm curious to see how this next one's going to go. Right now, these players are going to be not just fighting for the October Grand Final slot, but also to be the one to play against Tempest in the finals for that first place prize of $1,500, which of course, is definitely a pretty big money match. You're not just money matching to get into the finals in the first place, but also for a chance to take the grand prize home as well.
Hey, that's not a small chunk of change. Like the finals itself is 700 USD money match, right? Kind of nuts. So let's get right into it. Now, I'm just really excited. Like either way, it would be a crazy story. Would it be Diru, the teammate of last weekend's champion, or a completely new player making it all the way to Grands? That would be a story in and of itself. The players are in the lobby. They are currently queued up. The only question is, what are they going to queue first? Like you said, it's a mirror. Mid-range sword versus aggro abyss. I will also say, if you want to check out the list, please check out the VOD over on the official Shadowverse channel. Over on the quarterfinal section, we do go over every list of every player, but we're just going to go straight into the game right now. Aha! Two different philosophies here. Diru queuing the aggro first, while Cloudy queuing the mid-range first.
Okay, we'll see how this goes for both players. Don't forget that there is some interesting tech with that Luminous Commander in the board list here.
Ooh. That is a genuinely terrible hand on Cloudy's side. I don't know if that could have been worse. Yeah, that's pretty tough. Oh, no barrel as well? That is going to be a hard mountain to climb. And that's the story with Aggro Abyss in general, I find. It's quite a feast or famine deck, right? Like, if you can go extra play point barrel into Balto, it's basically unbeatable. But if you get a hand like this, suddenly the tables turn, right? It becomes very beatable, is the unfortunate scenario. Goodness.
Yeah, the opening hand was just not looking too great, and now you kind of want to play into this Exila to give you a big pop-off. And Errol, of course, here, I guess the idea is you play point boost to go a little wide, and then Errol next turn. But the problem is that Sword has a plethora of good options for early game, and mid game, and late game, and this hand on Cloudy's side is giving you a little bit of everything right now.
Oh yeah.
This actually works out.
Just land the Balto, right?
I think so. This kind of worked out because they went for the full clear without leaving anything on the board. So that kind of means that we're back to square one here. Clean slate. Balto is it's a 3-1 that has to be answered, and this hand doesn't have an easy way to answer it without any evolve points. So, because the Nanya also, she doesn't have rush or anything. She doesn't even get her buff. So, just putting down a 3-1 body is actually quite threatening.
It just hard loses to Lance Trooper or Saria, right? That's the unfortunate scenario. But Errol plays deeper into Saria. I think you have to Balto. Does Cloudy run Saria? Let me just double check real quick.
Good question. I think
he does. He runs one. He runs one.
Okay. The other thing with this one damage ping is that it slightly makes up for your lack of turn 1, turn 2s for optimal turn 1, turn 2.
Right. Yeah.
To do what he did.
That's true. Yeah, because mathematically Balto is 4 damage burn over the course of 4 turns, so
yeah.
It does help. That being said, this turn is tough, right? Because
Can't ignore
I
the
feel like
build out at all.
it's I was just gonna say it's kind of a catch-22. If you just clear the Nonya go face, that is the most aggressive play. But if you leave filled out up, it lets it aggressively evolve. I think Diru's line here, evolve Aerial, trade Bat and Ghost, go face with Balto, is the line that covers the most outs.
Yep, gonna go for it. This is really, really good because basically next turn they're either gonna go wide with the Luminous, or maybe they're gonna go for the Zirconia, or Rose picked up.
Rose is the only full clear. I think it's guaranteed clear. It's because it's everything clears. It's either Samurai, Lance Trooper, Saria, or Quick Blader. Oh no, not Quick Blader. No. True. If it drew Luminous, it wouldn't have been a clear without an evolve. So technically not guaranteed, but very, very likely.
Yeah, very likely. That's for sure.
Interesting.
Like Argavi here for later. I do think that's correct. This is
I'll
going to
go
be a
face.
very aggressive turn here. Exila for 4. Go down to 10. So this is... You get a Ghost next turn. So we're again in like that kind of similar scenario where we have like Ghost Rage of Serpents will be 7 damage. Balto makes it 8. If you have another source of 2, then that's going to be game.
Lilith gives you Bat, not Ghost.
Oh, you're so right. That's a big difference.
That actually makes things a little harder. I think you can play Saria, evolve Zirconia here. This is quite safe for Cloudy.
Hold up. Let me give this a count real quick. I think...
Oh! Trading the Rose instead of the Zirconia, keeping the most stats up, means that Aragavi, forget about full clear, it only clears 2 if you evolve. That's quite heads up from Cloudy there. That Rose is putting in the work.
This is looking off. This is so what I was looking at here, sorry, was it's like Bat, Exila, Rage of Serpents doesn't get you enough because you would have been able to do 9 with the Balto.
That is quite dire. Forced to use Rage of Serpents to clear Rose. Yeah. And then still leaving 4 damage up. That being said, I think this is still fine. Oh wait, no, Odin's hand. That's right, you're right.
Odin's just in hand waiting, dude.
Yeah,
last turn, Exila would have been... I'm just thinking about the Exila, right? Because she would have been 2 evolved into 5. And then you have 8, and then burn 1, so it was 9. Yeah, it was actually 1 off. It was very, very close, but we see game 1 taken by Diru. Oh, sorry, by Cloudy.
If that Lilith was a Cultivator of Malice, like, it would have been game for Diru, but, you know, a Bat does not have Storm without the Aerial on the field, so Cloudy is able to take that. I think on paper, mid-range just is better into that, but the fact that it was that close is kind of crazy too, if you think about it that way.
Yeah,
like this is an on paper really, really good matchup for mid-range sword, but like Diru did not make it easy. So now we'll have to see. Cloudy has 2 chances to progress with Aggro Abyss here. Do you think Diru's just gonna pivot to his mid-range now? Like not like try to secure that win?
They're both on Aggro Abyss. So this is going to be, it looks like it is going to be trying to just do the same thing back, right?
Yeah. But unfortunately, Cloudy's hand is...
Wait a second, this is not mid-range.
No, I meant mid-range sword, sorry. That's what I meant to say, yeah. But I will say, Cloudy's hand is significantly better than Diru's was, because he gets the extra play point out of Barrel on turn 1. And what does Diru have? No 2-drop?
Oh, this is bad. This is horrible. This is... You get to answer the 3-3, but that's all you're doing. You can...
And you know this gets cleared by easy Vuela. This is incredibly strong start from Cloudy. And you know, even if Diru gets a Zirconia into the turn 5, Cloudy actually picked up the Apollo, which is the tech you run for this matchup specifically too. So just a great hand.
The Shadow Crypt here couldn't have come at a better timing. You get clear and you get face damage. You're pushing 5. Dude, Cloudy's got somewhere to go. This is going to be a very fast start to this game. And I'm wondering if it's going to continue just as fast.
And I will say also, you know, it's very important to put the Shadow Crypt down because the fanfare giving you 2 shadows enables your mummy for next turn too. So like, that just leads into the next turn so well. I think this might have to be Magus and not Zirconia, but that still gets answered by Apollo. Like, no matter what you do, that one Apollo in Cloudy's hand that he picked up, once again, that is the tech for this matchup specifically, and it came when he needed it.
Yep. It's going to be doing all the work, and right now, I mean, unfortunately, Diru is just kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. If the Luminous comes out, it gets answered. Zirconia, it's also not exactly in the best position. Rose, I mean, even Rose is not exactly doing too much here, so it is going to be evolving the ward, but again, this is all it's doing is just answering the board, and that's it.
And we're seeing the Apollo come out too. That line of play from Diru also really bad into Aragami. So I think that was a like you said, rock in a hard place, man. There was no way out of that without taking your lick in with another mummy going to face here. Like, that is tough. I wonder if you actually just play the barrel, but no, you go for the mummy face, obviously. Because now if these 2 get cleared, your other mummy gets another boost to face, right? Mummy plus boost to face plus Vuela is 1 off lethal. If they full clear here, Mummy plus Vuela super evolve is 7 damage.
Yeah.
It's close. It's close.
It's very close, and then you know, you still got 1 more super evolve left after that, so technically if there's no heals, you can super evolve trade for the 1 damage ping to win the game the next turn. But that does mean that there's no heals happening, but next turn there could be an Olivia, theoretically.
Yeah, true. Olivia would get Diru out of the danger zone. Also, this Gildaria means that you can't just easily Vuela Mummy here. You kind of can't leave that Gildaria up. Oh, actually, no, Vuela gets buffed, right? Vuela becomes a 4 attack. Yep. So, yeah, you can trade into the Gildaria, no problem. Yeah.
Yeah, gonna cash in the extra play points, too. I like
this. That is quite good.
Again, you're pushing down now where this is 1 off lethal, and you got the biggest target off the board. There's no Olivia, there's no heals. You gotta trade this board, and you know that you lose to a super evolve trade ping. The only way to undo that is if you can clear everything off this board and not leave anything up.
Yeah, and then even if you do that, you lose to Aragavi, Rage of Serpents, Soiree if he runs it. Let me just double check. Also down to... no Soiree, but you're also down to Errol, you're down to Balto, you're down to Shadow Crypt, you're down to Excella. Pretty much every card in the deck kills you. So there's kind of no out.
Yeah, this is pretty tough, and it's looking like Cloudy, very fast top 8 set into a very fast top 4 set here, and it's looking like Cloudy is gonna lock in that spot in the grand finals in the very first SVO that they joined. That is a crazy statement.
What a start to your competitive career, right? Not only are you, if this is your first ever tournament, you locked in a grand final slot and you beat tournament mainstays like Imagine Epic Victory. Nuts to see. And honestly, if we just take a look at the bracket right here real quick, kind of insane how much of a speed run Cloudy has been putting on in that lower side of the bracket.
It's ridiculous, dude. I messaged all the players that are in our top 8 today, and I was like, any like past tournament records you want me to feature, like any funny story or fun facts about yourself you'd like to he'd like me to mention on stream, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you know, this is my first Shadowverse tournament. It's just a game I like, you know, playing in the bathroom." I was like, "What?" That is an insane statement. And you are now in the finals. You are locked in for the grand finals from just your first tournament. This is the dream that SVO can give you. So if you're enjoying World Beyond, we got lots of tournaments. The next one's coming up in 3 weeks' time. We go for a little break after this, but that's 3 weeks. There's some announcements happening. There should be a new set coming out according to the schedule. So it's going to be a brand new meta, fresh, exciting new cards, and 2 more spots available in 3 weeks' time. So what are you doing?
Yeah.
Get ready. It's time.
Extremely exciting.
You could be joining these players.
Absolutely. Check out svo.gg for all the information on future tournaments. Guys, we are about to go into the finals match. These 2 players are already locked in for the grand finals in October, but whoever wins this walks away with an extra $700. That's US dollars, by the way. So don't miss it. We'll be back right after a very short break, just 5 minutes, and we'll be back with the finals of the first SVO qualifier. Well with Merman this turn either. He is just gonna go for Forte face. Again, this does get hard punished by Glade. Life doesn't have the Glade in hand though.
Yeah, for Life this is kind of, for Life this is kind of okay. It's more so for...
What you could do also is try not to boardwalk and just full clear instead, right? Use the strike into the Lily.
Clear. Maybe we're just a game 1 dragon win. It actually just works out. Garyu's super evolve gives you exactly 5 damage.
Watching Tempest does it again. Watching this run is insane. This is like, I'm losing my mind right now. And it's like, goodness gracious. This is some of the most exciting Shadowverse top 8 I've casted in a long time. And you know,
a trade, and this is exactly 7 damage in the hand of Life. We're going to a game 3 as it is time to see who's going to take it between these 2 players. Final decks in the lineup. It's gonna be that mid-range Abyss.
And this is why you save your Apollo.
This is why you save your Apollo. Apollo's huge in this instance, being able to answer everything, including the second one as well. That's gonna come in pretty handy. That's very also nice. 2 Carbuncles down, which is very big data for this game, because having
the body has to go. Tempest doesn't know there's no Bales in hand. Because if there's even 1 Bale, I think it's lethal, no?
Yeah.
0. It's close either way. I think the body has to go. Yeah.
7. Yeah. This is again a pretty, not so much like big reads from Tempest this game, but that Tempest is gonna go to the finals, and Tempest is gonna bring the dragon all the way to the top and lock in that qualification to the SVO Grand Finals in October. Congratulations, Tempest. 2-1 over Life in a very close nail-biter.
That is the most aggressive play. But if you leave filled out up, it lets it aggressively evolve. I think Diru's line here, evolve Aerial, trade Bat and Ghost, go face with Balto, is the line that covers the most outs.
Yep. Gonna go for it. This is really, really good because it's like Bat, Exila, Rage of Serpents doesn't get you enough because you would have been able to do 9 with the Balto.
That is quite dire. Forced to use Rage of Serpents to clear Rose. Yeah. And then still leaving 4 damage up. That being said, I think this is still fine. Oh wait, no, Odin's hand. That's right, you're right.
Odin's just in hand waiting, dude.
Yeah,
last turn, Exila would have been... I'm just thinking about the Exila, right? Because she would have been 2 evolved into 5, and then you have 8, and then burn 1, so it was 9. Yeah, it was actually 1 off. It was very...
Cloudy's hand is significantly better than Diru's was, because he gets the extra play point out of Barrel on turn 1. And what does Diru have? No 2-drop?
Oh, this is bad. This is horrible. This is You get to answer the 3-3, but that's all you're doing. You can,
and you know this gets cleared by
Vuela.
easy Vuela. This is incredibly strong start.
Rosé. I mean, even Rosé is not exactly doing too much here, so it is gonna be evolving the ward. But again, this is all it's doing is just answering the board, and that's it.
And we're seeing the Apollo come out too. That line of play from Diru also really bad into Aragave. So I think that was 4 attack. Yeah. So yeah, you can trade into the Gildaria, no problem. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna cash in the extra play points too. I like this.
That is quite good.
Again, you're pushing down now where this is one.
You're down to Shadow Crypt, you're down to Excella. Pretty much every card in the deck kills you. So there's kind of no out.
Yeah, this is pretty tough, and it's looking like Cloudy, very fast top 8 set into a very fast top, and it's looking like Cloudy is gonna lock in that spot in the grand finals in the very first SVO. Welcome back, folks. It is finals time in the SVO qualifier. We've come a long way after all the players that joined this qualifier, down to 8 players playing it out in today's broadcast games. Now down to just 2 players here with Tempest versus Cloudy, a veteran of the scene versus someone playing in their first Shadowverse tournament. Both of these players are locked in to the grand finals happening, the invitational only tournament at the end of October. But who's going to become number 1? If you're just joining us, my name is Chris. This is Igni. We're going to be bringing you the action for this final game. How are you feeling, man?
I'm feeling amazing. This is a really interesting spread. So if you guys were curious about the lists, we have them over on the quarterfinals, so check out the VOD. But just as a quick refresher, Cloudy, like you said, new player, bringing in mid-range Swordcraft and aggro Abyss. Meanwhile, Tempest, mid-range Abyss, ramp Dragon in finals. Let's take a look at the head-to-head. And again, the story is really interesting too, like you said. Incredibly seasoned player from Shadowverse Classic in Dawnbreaker's Tempest versus Cloudy, who says this is their first ever tournament. Is that right?
Yep.
I mean, that's a flex, right? Like, first ever tournament, finals, and secured your spot in Shadowverse Open Grands in October. But now, whoever wins this gets the bragging rights and the honor and the glory of being the first qualifier champion. And also, the winner gets $1,500 US, while runner-up gets $800. So it's a $700 US money match. It's aggro Abyss versus mid-range Abyss first. This should be okay for Tempest if Cloudy doesn't get a hand as crazy as he did the last set. And it looks like that might be the case. Let's take a look at the mulligan.
Yeah, this is going to be very important because, of course, aggro, while it does have a bit of an edge in the early game, you know, there is a fair bit of sustain in the mid-range list. Ooh, and the 1-drop picked up off the top is huge.
No, but that being said, Tempest has the Apollo in hand, which is the ender of runs for Abyss, or aggro Abyss. You gotta be worried about that if he commits.
Yep.
If Cloudy commits a winged beast, a winged servants, I should say, like an extra play point, Apollo literally just stops him right on his tracks.
He's debating which one to go into.
Yeah, ooh, I think he considered that.
Call, buddy.
He made the right call. He considered that outcome. Once again, y'all, if you're just tuning into finals, this is an open deck list tournament. Both players know exactly what the other player is playing. The only problem is, how do you use that information to your advantage? And Cloudy, you know, he says he's a rookie, but he doesn't carry himself like one, right? Like, these are some smart plays.
Yep, 100%. Orthra is going to be coming down instead, though. So now you save the extra play point, and you still put up a wall that is a little bit harder to answer. But instead, we're going to just, cash in the Shadow Crypt here and give yourself the shadows, which is very important, but also push 3 damage face.
I feel like that did accomplish its goal, right? Just putting the wall in the way, preventing 2 to go face. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of awkward for Tempest here. No real answer against the 2-2.
Yeah, you're actually
you want to be
a bit of a predicament.
I was gonna say, you want to be saving the Apollo and the Gravy for when they make a wider board. I think you kind of just have to tank the damage here for now. But we've talked about this earlier during the day. Mid-range, their healing turns don't really come until, their big healing doesn't come until Ginyuzu. Until then, Olivia's all they got. So Cloudy might be able to outpace. But that being said, it's going to be tough because of this Apollo. Like I said, Ender of runs against aggro. And the only play here is Gravy.
Damaging, though. This Apollo does not feel as bad as it could have been if the turn 2 was different, right?
Right, yeah. Because if Winged Servants came out, and then the Apollo came out then, that would have just stopped Cloudy in his tracks. Now at least he has a counterplay if he wants to play Aragavi and evolve it. Winged Servants... Wow! That is incredibly slow for an aggro Abyss.
Yeah, it's you're answering it, you're not losing defense, but you lost 2 cards from hand. That's the bigger loss.
You lost 2 cards and burn. And the problem is, by doing that, you're not putting the pressure on, and Tempest has extra play point into Olivia next turn if he needs the healing. Or if you have no answer to his board, he can start putting the pressure on you. And remember, a lot of your own cards burn yourself in Aggro Abyss. So if the mid-range can start putting the beat down, that turns off a lot of your options too.
What I would have liked to see that turn was, you could have played the Aragavi, evolve burn 3. Even if they Olivia heal 2, they would have gone up to 13. So you still have Odin Super Evolve for lethal. But instead, by not doing that, now it's you can still do Odin Super Evolve here, and then theoretically, Odin Super Evolve next turn wins the game, but we know the Liv is in there, and that is going to evade that lethal game plan.
That's true, very good point. With Olivia, it does mean that, that Odin is no longer lethal, and no 1-drop that can supplement the damage, and you have to contend with 12 on board. I think you're right. If Cloudy went for a different line that previous turn, he might have been able to squeak a win. But because he went a little too slow, he showed fear. That's the thing. He showed fear.
Yeah, it was really that Aragavi that I think should have come down there, and it would have given you just that little bit of extra damage that was missing. Because here the problem is that Aragavi can burn 3, go down to 6, and then you do get to take out the entire board, which is quite strong. Oh, it looks like we're going to go quite wide here as well. Evolving this plus the Super Evolve is 4 damage, so that puts them down to 5. It's not exactly enough for next turn either.
Oh, but does... Ooh, and now Cerberus is an option for Tempest, too.
You can start healing back. This is where, again, like I said, early game...
Wait, is that lethal?
Ooh, true, hold up.
Vuela, Mummy, Super. That's 7, plus
5,
Rage
7,
is 10 damage.
Plus 3, yeah, you got it. There's lethal in hand. We actually see it for Tempest. This is big. This also means that the craziest part is that going into this finals, I was really worried about Dragon going into the aggro Abyss on the first game and just having a horrible time. But now you have 2 chances with the Dragon, and that is something you're very happy as Tempest. And right now, Rage of Serpent is going to deal the last 3 damage and give Tempest the first game win.
Man, I think well, to be fair, casters of course have perfect information, but I think Cloudy did play a little too defensive, a little too slow. I think you have to recognize that if you didn't win within 7 turns, you kind of lost the entire game, and you kind of had to go for that out, right? And now Dragon has 2 chances versus Aggro Abyss. The moment Dragon lands Neptune, don't you just lose because you heal while putting up an 8/8 ward? That's tough.
Ooh. And look at this hand. This hand for Dragon is almost like it's made to fight the early board from Aggro Abyss, and it's going first as well.
This is incredible for Dragon. And you get the sign. Okay, so yeah, this is Call of the Megalorca for sure. Getting a 2-1 up on the board, meaning that there's like, if they play Barrel, it's not a free response. You can trade Megalorca plus Strike into Phylene. So yeah, honestly, no great plays for Cloudy. I think, extra play point Apollo, but that's quite low tempo. This does still get answered by Phylene Strike, or you just sign because that's literally only 1 damage.
Yep. You're quite happy taking this one, even with the heal off the bat. It's A-OK.
And the Merman!
Oh my god.
Chris, are we gonna see a Dragon winning SVO finals?
First it was Haven, then it's Dragon. It's all the rogue decks are picking up dubs in the SVO, and I love that.
Only in SVO, man. You gotta admit, like, you take a look at Extra Championship, you take a look at Online Championship, you take a look at SKO, STO. It's only SVO that's got shenanigans like this. I'll tell you that right now. I swear, we got some of the most innovative builders out here.
And that's why everyone should be watching. Tell your friends. This is some of the craziest matches in Shadowverse you'll ever see.
Yeah, Errol? Ghost? No, like, that's not even that good. You're left with a 1-1 after this exchange.
That is indeed the case, and you know, with Tempest 1 turn away from Overflow too, this Phylene is going to start doing a lot of work because her spell debuffing. Oh my god. I feel like this merman just shows up every time I try to say something, man.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but that was like an insane topic.
This is crazy, but what's also wild is that Phylene spell buffing the cost of everything in the opponent's hand by 1 is basically just a nightmare for any aggro deck, right?
Oh, a nightmare. I see what you did there. Interesting.
You know.
Yeah, that Merman is back-breaking. Another option, technically. Grimnir put a ward up. Phylene Evo. Full clear while dealing 4 to face and presenting a 4-attack Bane. This covers for Aragavi. Because if they are Aragavi here, if they want to clear Phylene, they would have to trade into a Bane, which clears the body, giving tempo back to the Dragon. I think that was a very heads-up line by Tempest there.
Okay, this is where we take a breather again for Tempest. We're looking for that top end. We want to see Forte. We want to see Neptune especially. Neptune was in the opening hand but was thrown back. I think in this matchup, keeping it in the mulligan while it is risky, it's for times like this where you really would like to see it.
Right, yeah. I think the right play here, we already saw 1 call played. So what you could do is call, thin the deck by 1, Phylene, increase cost of opponent's hand, which would out Odin this turn.
True. That would be pretty big.
And it thins your deck by 1, right? Which is the important part. Like your merman and your strikes are better reactively, so I think that is the right play. But we're in this section of the game now where doing that, like, it thins the deck so you can maybe draw into Neptune, but you're kind of worried about the amount of lethal potential in the Ops hand at the mo. I think you do still do it though. Phylene increase cost. Yeah, he's gonna go for the line. I said. Yep.
That's big.
Yep.
I like it. I think this is a good timing to play the buff spell. Ooh, okay. And the Evo as well, just to put up stats on the board. It's like, okay, well, if you can't answer anything here, I'm going to cash in a lot of damage next turn.
That Odin is at 8 play points, not able to be slammed down this turn, which pretty drastically slows down the damage potential of Cloudy, too.
Yeah, you're kind of stuck here, right? It's like you can Vuela evolve to trade really does not sound good.
I mean, the issue is that Tempest has no follow-up unless he top decks Forte, right? Like, that's the only out at this point. Forte or Odin. No, Odin is not lethal. It has to be... No, Forte is not lethal either. This is tough, actually. Technically, it's not one. Like, Tempest is doing the best with what he's got, but what he's got is not a lot. So...
More than anything, he needs Neptune, I think. Neptune would give you the heal and the sustain and the leader effect. Full board, heal 4, 16 is a pretty safe place to be, I'd say.
100%.
All right, where are we going here? Very curious.
I think this has to trade into the 4-4. And then I think you rage the 2-2. Face. You know, that does set up for Odin next turn. No, you're right. Oh, Neptune off the top!
That's so big. That's so big. Even if it's just a summon 3 and heal 3, you do it. You cash the... I think you cash in the Super Bowl.
Oh, my goodness. I think you do. I think that extra 1 does matter. Oh, no. It doesn't. It doesn't matter. Because they only have just enough for Odin next turn. So you want to pressure face now.
Yeah, because even if they had a ghost in hand or something, that would be
it wouldn't have been lethal.
Only 8.
Yeah. And that's if they... And we know they don't have a ghost, right? Because we never saw a cultivator played.
Exactly.
Wow, this is a really heads-up play. That Neptune coming in super clutch. If the Neptune didn't come in, Odin was just lethal, right?
Yeah.
That's the scary part.
Wow, this is very much looking to be the game for Tempest, even in this matchup that was not favored. Oh, this is pretty big.
It's pretty big. Neptune Crest is already up, so Mega Lorca plus Merman is not only a clear, but a full heal. Well, not a full heal, but like it's a 3 heal. It's a 3 heal, right? Yeah. You 3 heal for... You definitely trade 1 Mega Lorca in, and then you play the other Mega Lorca and then play Strike. You heal all the way back up to 10. Full board.
Oh no, this is the last call on the deck. You're right, because you play 1.
That's the last call. That's the last call.
I think you do play it out. The heal to 10 is important. Yeah, this way you're just barely safe, and I think Tempest is barely evading lethal, and we see the surrender from Tempest now taking it all 2-0 over Cloudy. That was an insane finals. I cannot believe Dragon, dude.
Unbelievable. I'm speechless. You guys
too much.
Spread the word. Tell your friends to watch this tournament because it has been insane. Tempest's run, particularly, it could have ended in quarters if he didn't call no Annengrea turn 5. It was the biggest gamble of a lifetime, the greatest called shot, and he made it work against a run of competition that was so disadvantageous for him. He made it work with the Dragon Craft. Need I remind you, earlier on social media, I was talking to Tempest and he was joking around in the preliminary matches, he played 10 rounds not touching the dragon at all. And then going into the play-ins, he was panicking about having to win with dragon. Well, turns out that panic, not needed at all because that dragon is what took it home. 100%. Congratulations for Dawnbreaker's Tempest, winning $1,500 plus the 100 from the webcam bonus and a spot at SVO Grand Finals. That being said, I have to give a massive shout out to Cloudy. First ever tournament up against some of the best players in the game, made it all the way to finals, and also secured a spot at SVO Grand Finals in October in Singapore. So while he's not the champion, he still got the biggest prize, pretty much, other than the extra money. You know, still good. But he got the important prize, which is another chance to compete at the Grands. So what an incredible run. We are going to go straight to an interview with our champion, DB Tempest, guys. So while we get him set up, I think we already have him on. Can we switch to the third cam? Let's take a look.
Let's see if we can get
do we have it?
Time. Oh, there we
go. Thanks, guys.
First of all, congratulations, brother. I guess, listen, usually we ask questions like, how do you feel? I think I know how you're feeling right now. What I'm going to ask is, how did you know that extra play pointing the Aragavi, calling they don't have Anon Gray at turn 5 in your quarters? How did you know that would happen?
Okay. I think, honestly, there might be a misplay, but my thinking was like, I mean, why not? Shit, the most he has to trade in the Anon Gray into my 6-5. Right, worst case, I have to evoke the mummy to trade, but my hand was really bad. Like, I had to make a proactive play. I mean, to me, that's how I play a beast. I just be proactive against this slow deck.
You call that a called shot, man. You shot from half court and it went swish. I gotta say, Chris, do you have a question for Tempest? Because I asked mine already,
dude. How happy are you that you pulled that Phylene leader, dude? That Phylene leader gave you that entire dub.
Let me just say, so this will happen, right? So the day before, I think it was the deal, right? The bonus deal, right? So I was like, oh man, I'm like 40 packs away on Phylene. I don't have it. I put Aether. Like, why not, man? $100 to Phylene. Oh, I got it from Lucky Ticket. If it's luck, if Cap on one seat, I guess I'll just play, man. What the hell not?
Amazing. I gotta say, just to give people the context, you went into prelims 10 rounds not touching the dragon at all. And then you started panicking that you'd have to win with dragon once it got to the play-in. Do you feel like, you know, you have a closer bond with this dragon now that it's gotten you all the way to the dub?
All right, let me just say, I know the stuff I did not play the Fanny event or whatever. I just in for 2k points. In case people wondering, I picked Zwei because I'm a Pottermate. I love Potter, so I did not pick Fanny.
Oh my god!
Wow, dude, they're trying to tempt you over to the dragon side, man. They're like, hey, you know, we'll give you a win in SVO. Come become a dragon, man.
I mean, my team knows this, and I think Chrisom especially. So the only time I got top, I think, is when I brought dragon. Very unironically, like, screw this shit, I'll just play dragon. And somehow, I just draw the Oracle.
All right.
Your top 8 game was like, you know, you get double ramp into like some of the most insane reads. Like, that was just insane. I think after that top 8 game, there was a flow. There was something happening that it was like, all right, this guy has what it takes to actually run it all the way today, and you did it.
Bro entered the astral plane, dude. Yeah, I think we both had that feeling. Like, after that top 8 game cut and we went to break, I'm like, I think Tempest is gonna win with Dragon. Actually, yeah. I guess I gotta say, you know, I'll ask the actual serious question this time. How are you gonna prep going into SVO Grands to give yourself the best chance of making it all the way to World Grand Prix?
Oh man, I mean, last time I played this, how competitive it was like when I was still a student, man. So it's quite hard to balance working and I mean, it's been many years since all of us we used to play this game, right? We have to work and practice. It's kind of hard. So we'll see. I mean, at least I have time. The meta will be different. I'll just keep up here and there and stay. But hopefully, Dragon is playable by then. I want to play Galmu also. Hopefully my main decks are meta. Otherwise, I have to pull something crazy again. Yeah. Yep.
All right. We won't keep you too much longer because it is incredibly early in the morning for all of us now. Yeah. So we'll let you get some rest. Once again, congratulations, Tempest, and all the best. All the best for SVO Grands. And you know, I cannot wait to see dragon in the thumbnail of the next GIF video, misleading everybody into thinking it's a meta deck. It's gonna be awesome. Super excited. Let's get it. Once again, round of applause to our winner, Dawnbreaker's Tempest. Thank you so much. Is there anything you want to say to the people before we let you head off? Any shout outs?
I mean, all I can say is don't play Ho-Chan, guys. Just play face. Just go stomp. Just go face. All right,
Big dub. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
I'll be lucky, honestly. All right. Thanks, guys. See you.
Love to see
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you,
amazing. Yeah.
Congrats once again. Absolutely huge. Again, you have to keep in mind that the players that are taking it all in the Asian region, especially in both last week and this week, are playing at crazy times. Like for me, here in Japan, it's almost 5:30. For you, Igni, it's like what, 3:30?
3:30 in the morning. So if I'm a little loopy, that's why. But I had a great time. I had a great time, Chris. Thank you once again for being my co-caster today. It was a blast. I want to give a huge shout out to production for making all of this possible. It's pretty crazy time zones for them too. So big dubs and hearts in the chat for production. And hearts. Of course, thank you to all the players who not only played all the way till the morning today, but they were playing yesterday too for their play-ins all the way till like 10 a.m. in the morning. So that's pretty crazy. It's crazy to merge all of the SVOs into one time zone, but I just think that it's incredible to see the dedication of the players. You know, they're taking it seriously. Competitive Shadowverse, it's a lot of fun. It offers a lot of community, and it also offers a lot of rewards. So seeing people actually earnestly give it their best shot is always heartening to me. I want to say before we sign off, a big reminder to everybody in the chat, make sure to go to svo.gg. That's svo.gg. Exactly how you think it's spelt, because I literally just spelt it out. It's only letters. Then you go there. It's the official website for Shadowverse Open, and it has the details on all of the tournaments coming up. Our next Shadowverse Open qualifier is in 3 weeks' time, September 6th and 7th. The details are on there right now, and you can actually already register, or if not, then it's going to be open soon. So make sure to svo.gg and follow the socials as well. Official Shadowverse channel account on YouTube as well as X. But the best place once again is svo.gg, as well as the community Shadowverse Open Discord, which can also be found on svo.gg. So make sure you're tuned in, because you don't want to miss your next chance. Open Qualifier 2 has the exact same prize pool. Champion walks away with $1,500 USD, and the top 2 players qualify to Shadowverse Open Grand Finals, which then qualify you to World Grand Prix, which has a $700,000-ish US dollar grand prize. So lots on the line, free to enter, a lot of fun, as you can tell from today. So again, svo.gg, y'all. Make sure to tune in. Other than that, thank you all so much for watching. That is going to be it from us. We will see you in a couple weeks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.